Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin to lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to PSGL here for the 6th round of the PSGL E-Series Championship. We're here at COTA for our first and only arrival here at the Americas for the E-Series Championship. And I think this is the best American track, isn't it, Josh? I like Las Vegas, I don't like Miami, but I love Texas.
I think everybody does. This track the world of proper racing circuits, and it was an instant hit when we raced here in 2012, and it's delivered as great racing year in, year out. I think Vegas was very popular, but I'd rather see a second run of that Grand Prix before I make my mind up. And Miami, well, I've seen 2 of those. Now we're going to have another 2 next year with a sprint race added in. No, thank you very much. So definitely this is the place where I'd rather see a sprint and a feature race, because Texas, the circuit of the Americas, is awesome.
Yes, and obviously here tonight we have the full qualifying and the 28 laps the 50% 28 laps as we've done the whole season. I think I like the full qualifying format, because I think sometimes we do have the obvious ones drop out in the Q1 and Q2s, but going through into Q3, we do tend to have quite a few surprise names make it through, which I think is great to see in the top 10, because then you do have a bit of a mixed up grid for the race, and if you're in that top 10, normally you'll stay around that area, so we can get some teams to score some decent points. Joseph Floke was an example last time in Montreal. He scored himself, I think it was 3rd in qualifying. Did have a bit of an incident on the opening 2 laps, dropped down and finished in 6th, but it was still some decent points for the SRT team. We'll have a little look at the standings, means we're talking about the points at the moment. We can see that it's still Ferrari leading the way. What a surprise. They've got about a 60-ish point gap to Veloce Academy in 2nd, and Race Clutch, after last week's performance, have started to close that back in a little bit. They're only 5 points back now from Veloce Academy. Then a little bit further back, 33 points back, is RSG Sports. They're 10 points ahead of Williams. There's still a bit of a close battle between those for 4th and 5th. Then we got SRT. After a decent result in 6th and 10th last week, they have now put themselves just behind, about 20-ish points back from the Williams team. Then 2 points back from then is TS. Obviously, they took podium with Jan Halliday, which was superb and probably one of the best performances of that race. Obviously, they're only now 2 points behind the back of SRT. Then we have TF10 in 8th. Bit of a dismal championship for them so far. They took, I think, 2nd or 3rd last season. They're now currently scraping for 8th. As you can see, they're only about 20 points back from TES. And then down in 9th and 10th, still fighting for that bottom position is Vroom and FVR. 57 points to Vroom and 56 to FVR. But in Vroom's favour, they've got a decent lineup tonight. They've got they've got Reece Linton, obviously racing over previously on the Xbox side. I don't remember what his Xbox gamer tag was, but I know he was one of the quick ones over there, and obviously recently joining Vroom along. I think it was along with Kai Pearson, who also joined him into that team. So we have got Reece for tonight alongside Jeremy, but then the other teams we've got lots of Balance Elikesh making his first appearance for FVR. Will Lewis back for Williams. I think he's done 5 out of the 6 races, including this one. So he's, yet again been there a lot for the Williams team and scored them some decent points. Dylan Warren also making another appearance here for the Ferrari team. Marco Storiano, I believe this is his first time here in E-Series for the Ferrari. Obviously, I know him very well from last season in PSGL PCF2, where he was the runner-up in that championship to Jack West, who is in the SRTT, but he's not racing tonight. He's got Josie Floke and Louis Welch, and also a big congratulations to Josie Floke, who did win I think it's the Aston Martin's Young Driver of the Year award, I believe, if I got it correct. Obviously, very good for him indeed. And, it's nice to have someone who's represented IRL here in the league racing scene. And obviously, TF10, yet again, their normal lineup, Max Wiesel in brackets, Grand Pies alongside Paul Eckelmeyer. See, yet again, I think we got some very, we've seen a lot of drivers that we've seen before, but lots of Reece Linton making his first appearance as well. And we've got, I think, Chanakinchi, I think he made his first appearance and his only appearance back in the first couple of rounds. So it's nice to see some new faces. It's nice to see some people that haven't been here as much this season. But I still think, Josh, we've got a really strong grid.
We do, and you were talking about the long qualifying format. Just think back 7 days ago at Montreal, where Dylan Warren was nearly out in Q2. He was 15th fastest and had to put in a stellar lap time. He got through to Q3 and then went up, was first lap down in 10th position. By the end of qualifying, started on pole position. So it goes to show that it does look very entertaining, and it does go in for the perfect way, sort of, to adjust to this format. But we are going to start. We are going to get going. There is a couple of drivers missing on the field that we've been waiting for. But I'm looking at the Discord, and they're all saying that we're going to go. We need to go. If you're not there for qualifying, then you'll start at the back of the grid when the lobby forms up again, because there's a mandatory lobby reset between qualifying and the race to apply any penalties that are coming into the event as well. So we will have that to contend with. So qualifying should have started 7 minutes ago. It hasn't. So it is in the rule book. If you're not there when qualifying starts and you join late, you start at the back of the grid. So that's in the rules, as many of them stewards have already been saying to the Discord that the rules need to be applied, and that will be the case. So we're just waiting for them all to go, and we will get racing as qualifying is now 30 seconds away here, finally, from getting underway.
Yes, and we'll have a little look at the calendar before we get into the qualifying session. We've seen this calendar multiple times this season, and we've got 3 races after the calendar. We've got here at Kota, we go to Japan at Suzuka for round 7, and we finally end the season off at Jeddah just before the Christmas holidays begin. And I think these 3 tracks are great to end it off. We know Kota Heat's a great track for, racing. You can Suzuka, more of a qualifying track. You can't do as much overtaking there as you can in the likes of Kota, likes of Bahrain, into Lagos. So I think that's also a decent track. But then Jeddah, yes, again, you can overtake, but you've got kind of that one zone which is down in towards either 27 or down in towards turn 1. So that's when we kind of see that DRS game, which we've seen over in previous races at Las Vegas. So that's sometimes more about, I think, the IQ behind the driver more than the actual tyres or more than the skill, because of DRS, even if you're a couple tenths of a lap slower, that DRS can give you 3, 4, 5 tenths of a second down towards the braking zones, and you could be on older tyres, you can still take victory. Obviously, remember last week in, I forgot where it was, I think it was a couple of weeks back, obviously round 4, I think it was, in Monaco. The PC side. Obviously, in the normal championship, we saw Las Vegas very similar in terms of the way the DRS works. We saw people from 4th in the train ending up in the braking zone being first in the train because, the overtaking, it's so easy to do.
And speaking of overtaking opportunities at this circuit, there's a lot more because, as I said, it's sort of a more flowing circuit. So if we take a look at the driver tracker around here, it's a 3.4-mile circuit. That's 5.472 kilometers in total. And it is opportunity for overtaking straight down towards the track. If we take a look at the track map on the screen, here we go. So 20 turns in total, 3 sectors. The first sector is sort of Mickey Mouse section as well. That's Maggots and Beckett's at Silverstone. And then you get into the second sector, which is more opens up to what we had in India as well, that long sweeping back straight. Sector 3 sort of mini margins between what we had at China and Sepang with that tight infield section, the first couple of corners. Then turn 16, 17, and 18 as well, all loops up into a reverse of Istanbul. And then the last two corners, flat out, pretty much unique to this layout as well. Two lefts make the end of the race. And we're underway for qualifying. The cars are heading out onto the track.
Yeah, so we can see now at the main screen pop up. You can see one of the first cars on track is TF10 Grandpa. You might know him as Max Wiesel. You might know him as Grandpa. Either way, he's still kept his team name as Grandpa. It's been on that for a few weeks, so I don't think he's got any intention of changing it back to his real name. But then again, he's the oldest man in the sim racing scene, I believe. He's, I think, mid-30s now, 34. Obviously was an IRL racer back in the day, back in the late 2000s. He was racing, I think it was Formula BMW. It was one of the things it was called, something like that, or Super Formula. I can't remember what the name was of it. And I believe in one race he actually finished ahead of Sergio Perez because Perez DNF'd and he finished like 11th. So, here we've got someone who outscored the current Red Bull driver. He's in the Red Bull today. I don't know if it'll give him the same look as he did back then. But yeah, we'll see what he manages to do. And TF10, it's just, I'm very surprised how they're performing this season. I think I was thinking they're going to be one of the teams that are going to come in. They're going to be looking for top fives in the championship. They're going to be looking for top threes in the races on their day. But it's just been quite poor. They've got 88 points compared to Ferrari's 244. That's a good 140-ish points, if I got my mathematics right, off of the leaders. That's a lot of points lost. So hopefully they've got 3 races left. They can swing some form in. Max Wiesel's one who we expect to see near the top. He's put 2 poles this season. Just the races haven't worked out in his favour. Paul Eckelmar as well started generally near the back of the grid, but we have seen him races move his way up the grid in the race. So we'll see what he's able to do today. But yeah, I think they definitely need to find some form for the end. I think their kind of threshold will be to beat TES and Streamline Racing Team, who are only 20/30 points ahead. I think that's probably their goal for this season. But if we can see performances from Jan Harder like we saw in Montreal, that's going to be quite hard to catch up. So yeah, I think it's got to be decent. But the one driver I think I'm keeping my eye out on is probably Reese Linton. Obviously, first time here representing Vroom for this championship, and it's also one of his first races over on the PC. Obviously, he used to race on Xbox. I'm very intrigued to see what the Xbox driver can do. We've seen lots, I think Duncan Hoffman was on Xbox. I know we've got lots of Tosh Ronhar, Otis Lawrence all moving over, and they've been, they've shown some great pace, and they're probably 2 of the biggest talents in the scene. So we'll see if Reese is able to put himself near the calibre of those 2. He's just heading through the first sector. Obviously, the first laps are run on intermediate tyres. It's nothing new. We see this all the time because the drivers just want to set everything up, make sure everything's working fine without wasting a set of soft tyres. But we can just see him heading down in towards turn 10, Josh. You might as well give us a bit of a hot lap, even though we're actually not on a hot lap because it's on the inters. You might as well give a bit of a lap for the viewers.
Well, down this back of the straight as well, DRS Open, you reach about 320, 330 kilometers an hour, flat out with a toe. It's brilliant, but it's a hard braking zone. Down all the way, 3rd gear, slap down the brakes, and then just hug the inside line. It's very easy to invalidate lap times both on entry and exit. Then this section I don't like, 13 and 14. It sort of confuses you as a driver because there's parts of the track where you sort of have corners but you don't aim for them. You completely miss the apex, or to line up through into turn 15, and then coming through 16, 17, 18 as well, a triple right, which you see the rear steps out even with dry tyres and wet tyres. Last 2 corners, 19, easy to fly it off the road. We saw Max Verstappen and Lando Norris have that problem this weekend. Well, I say this weekend, this season. And the last corner flies into you quite nicely. The only driver who's actually setting a good lap time on the softs right now is Jeremy for VRM in the Haas. He's P7 at the moment. He's on a set of soft tyres coming down in towards turn 12 and looking very good on his lap time as well.
Well, I should have remembered this is what we've seen Vroom to every single race. They get at least one or both of their drivers out of the circuit on a brand new set of softs at the start just to get a bit of an early lap time compared to the others. Obviously, they will be so they have no track evolution like the other drivers will do when they get the first laps in, so we don't expect something too competitive here from Jeremy. He's just heading through in towards turn 19 and it invalidates on the entry to turn 19, so just run a bit wide, getting yourself prepared for the entry. And unfortunately, that's lost his lap time. We'll see what it would have been anyway. It would have been a 1:32.415 for the Vroom driver. Obviously, his teammate went back into pits, Reese Linton, who was on a set of intermediate. So hopefully, in the next 1.5, 2 minutes, we'll see everyone back out on the circuit to start their first runs here on the soft tyres. And I think with this circuit, I think the qualifying is going to be quite close.
does prove to you though how wrong the track is from Codemasters, doesn't it? Without it being laser scanned, because the lap record from 2022 was George Russell's. Well, actually, the lap record was Charles Leclerc's 2019, a 1:36.169, and we're doing 1:32. So you can see how bad Codemasters' laser scan of the track is, which always gets to me because it's a fantastic circuit, Kota, and it deserves to be given the respect it does because it's awesome. But yeah, not a bad opening gambit time. Just wish he hadn't done that invalidation. He's running on 3% energy right now, so he'll be coming back to the pit lane for another go later. But Paul Elkenheimer's just coming out on the track. He's on soft tyres as well.
Yeah, just heading through in towards the end of that first sector. Obviously, this is quite a difficult sector to be fair, and when it comes to racing, there's not much I would take. It is really from turn 1 down up in towards turn 11. You can sometimes, if you get a decent run down towards this section where Paul is, but it's still quite an unlikely place to make an overtake. So that first section, you're literally just following each other through, and hopefully people don't make mistakes in front of those. You will end up being collected because it's quite a high-speed section of track, especially those the beginning of those S's section turns 3 through to turn 6. But then again, it's a section which it's hard to get wrong. It's very easy to just carry the car through. So through parts like that on the circuit, I don't think we'll see much difference in the times that the drivers are doing. But I think the place where we'll see the difference in the times is down in this section here. Sector 2, turns 12 through to like turn 16, because it is a very difficult pace to get it right. You've got to sometimes aim away from the apex to get yourself a good run into corners that you do require to hit the apex. And yeah, it can be a bit messy sometimes for drivers.
Don't like it. It's the only part of the track that I never really hook up perfectly when I do runs on it because it's so difficult. And you can see Paul just breaking up his lap, getting ready. He's going to launch the under 19 and we'll follow him round actually. He's the only one out on the track. Jan Halliday's come out instead of Sosby. He's on an out lap. Right, uphill to turn 1. The most unusual first corner in Formula 1. Uphill. They tried to go what we have back in Austria at the A1 ring as he throws it in, misses the apex, hacks it up at the exit nicely. Downhill now through turns 2 and 3. Already used about 15% of his ERS, now 20, now 25 as he comes through the Mickey Mouse section through what was the Maggots and Beckett inspired part of the track. Uphill now once again to the first sector, 25.059. Turn 8 and 9 and 10. This part of the track causes problems for MotoGP when we race here. There's horrible bumps at the exit that really disrupt the riders. And Formula 1 with the new ground effect cars also suffer with that. As he comes out now of turn 11, down the DRS, which was activated around 500 meters after the corner. It's activated now as he heads down towards turn 12. Keeps on the brake. Second sector point is coming up as well. So keep an eye on that top right delta. Flicks the car in, gets it over, doesn't invalidate the lap time. Second sector delta will be a 101.888. So 888 coming through. No, it's not a V8 supercar team. In now to this section where nobody likes. Hucks it up nicely. Now through the Turkey Istanbul section. Flick it through again, hug the inside line, but let the car drift. Don't overcorrect it. Avoid the tyre wear. He hasn't done that. Coming into 19, flick the car through, back on the par halfway to full. Lift off slightly through 20, let the engine do most of the braking. Back on the par midway through the exit. DRS open across the line. It's a 1:31.775. That's our first gambit time. It's actually a very decent time, but I see a 1:30 possibly coming up on the board.
We've got a few more cars coming out. Well, we've got pretty much everyone now on circuit on their route laps, apart from Paul, who's just set his lap. We've got the 2 CESs of Jan Herde and Modesta Mena going to be making their lap start now. Jan just coming through out to the final corner. Remember, Jan Herde took a podium last time out in Montreal. I believe he started in that top 5. It was a great job from him to finish in third. At one point, he was going to look for the lead, but I think he just went a little bit mistaken on the strategy. Went on to a set of starts where the top 2 went on to a set of medium, so he did start to lose that edge after a few laps. But he's just heading through now in towards turn 2 at the right hand, and he'll come through in towards the S's section, which yet again, very hard to lose time through this little bit here. The bit where you start to lose time is this next bit here, where you're just going to try and carry as much speed through, but we know the drivers sometimes can lose the rear quite often through here. It's a difficult section, especially when you've got more of a lower down forward setup. He just hops the curve there, coming through towards turn 9. Be careful not to invalidate. We know here is a very easy track. You can invalidate the car, because sometimes you're going to get very close to the curbs in order to get yourself the best maximum speed being carried through a corner. Coming out of turn 11 down towards turn 12 with the DRS, of course, and we'll see what speed Jan can hit as he heads down. We're just about to hit the 300 mark, 310. I think we'll hit about 320 maybe from the TES. It'll be Yes, 321 as he hits onto the brakes heavy in towards turn number 12. Throw the car in, try not to run wide on the exit. As a track there, one of the Red Bulls just heading off circuit. That might have been Paul just getting out of the way of everybody. As Jan still coming through now towards the end of this middle sector and towards turn number 16. Just throw the car to the left as you hook it round. A little bit of a miss of apex, bit of snappy on the throttle. Could lose him a bit of time as he now heads through in towards turn 17 and 18. Just want to keep the car through, follow it round, tried to not lose the rear. Throw in towards turn 19, throw it to the left hand side. Had a bit of a correction on the turn in there from Ian Halliday as he heads now towards the final braking zone at turn number 20. It's back on the power through to the line. What will it be for the TS? It will be 131.986. That's 2 tenths back off Paul. Although that was a really good lap from Paul, or a really poor lap from Jan Halliday.
Yeah, Modesta Mena goes up into third place, 132.014, but Max grew up on a point to goes top, 131.765. Well done for Max. And then we get, look at that from Lemonski as well, going on the top, 131.563. So the track 2 tenths faster than Paul Eckenheimer to get Will Lewis now second, 131.681. This is when the Reese Linton up into 5th position. Times coming across, everyone going out together then, Richie.
Yeah, indeed, we come see Max Fiesel now going fastest to the 0.498. We've got the 2 Alpines coming through, which will be raised. Sergio Sabrino and it will be Lenny Papinta, 8th for Lenny, 4th for Sergio as we come through. The 2 Mercedes coming through. That's FBR's Coldo Nigolo and Belinella Kesh. And I think, yeah, there we are. So 13th so far for Balint, and then 12th, 3rd, well, no, 13th for Cardona. Jost Nordart's gone into 3rd. Josie Float's gone into 3rd position for the SRT team. We've got the 2 Ferraris coming through as well. Dylan Warren, of course, going to be first to set his lap for that team. Ishmael Fassi as well. He goes into 2nd. Demoti Simulakomsky down to 3rd. We can see Dylan Warren come through. He goes only 8th fastest. Mirko Soriano. Can he go to the top? Yes, he can by 8 thousandths of a second too. Max Fiesel, but I feel like that will be a much-needed improvement from Dylan Warren, being down in 9th for the Ferrari team. Also, remember, they are leading the standings, so I don't think it's too worrying if he was to start down in 9th, but I think he'd certainly like to be a little bit closer to his teammates. It's still only 2 tenths separating the two, which shows just how close this grid is. We can have a look at the gap to leader in a second. We can see what's that. 2 tenths separating the top 10, 3 tenths separating the top 14. It's a very close grid so far, and another surprise to say is Lenny Papinta's on the cusp of being out in that Q1 session, which would definitely not be ideal for the Race Clutch team. They've not had the best luck in these past few races. They're currently sitting 5 points back from Veloci Academy, so in this race, ideally, they want to outscore the Veloci team by 6 points so they can get themselves back into 2nd in the standings. But RHC, they're looking strong so far. Chanakinchi in 5th and Joost Dunrock in 7th. If they can get some good points on the board, they can try and close in possibly to Race Clutch. They've only got a 30 points gap. We know here the points, there's quite a lot on offer for positions first, then all the way to 50s before you start to hit the the single digit position points. So I think, if RHC can play the cards right, they could get even closer to Race Clutch. They could also try and fight for 2nd. I don't think at this point anyone will be fighting Ferrari, because they, I think, can win it next week, depending how many points they score here. But with nearly a 60-point gap, for someone to close that down now, that would require Veloci Academy to, pretty much get 1st and 2nds in the next few races, and it would also require Ferrari to probably bottle every single race, which I just don't think that's possible. They've had so much consistency this season. For them to lose the last 3 races, I just can't see that happening. But crazier things have happened. We'll see what happens through this race. But yeah, I think Ferrari have probably still got the edge, and they've probably won it. But we can't call it too early. As we can see, Max Fiesel has just retired on that 1:31.498, thinking that he's safe enough to get himself through to Q2. I think that he's probably more than safe enough to get himself through to Q2. But I think if you're likes of Joost Nordart with that 0.6 down, you probably want to get yourself back out on track, get another lap in, because it's only 3 tenths elimination zone, which is obviously Louis Welch at the moment. So yeah, we need to see those guys probably head out soon. Well, not soon, but head out in the next half a minute, 2 minutes, get themselves back out on track for their final runs. But I think another sad thing to see is TES 15th and 17th at the moment, after a bit of a strong result back in Montreal. They're currently looking to have at least one driver out at the moment, and possibly the other being Jan Halliday out in Q2. He's only got about 20 thousandths to the back of Louis Welch, so he needs to find a massive improvement, doesn't he, in his next lap?
Well, look, all the drivers that retired, the top 5 have said, okay, that's enough for me. And as you said, Joseph Lerck in 6th place with that 131.6. That's going to be the cutoff as Paul Eckenheimer goes out on the track. Reese Linton goes out too. Joseph's backed out of it, so he thinks he's safe with a 131.623. That's a bit on the nose there. Wouldn't think it's so, but in the drop zone at the moment, Louis Welsh, Modesto Mena, Cornigolo, Elkes, and Jeremy in there too.
Yep. So everyone knows.
Both FVRs in there too. Bad for Modesto Mena. He's facing it. I expect more from Jan Halliday, and Louis Welsh facing elimination once again, from my quick knowledge, the third time this year in Q1.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shame for FVR to be back down in that 18th and 19th because they're only 1 point behind Vroom, and they've currently got one driver, Racington, who looks like he could possibly get himself out of Q2. They've got Jeremy, who unfortunately had a bit of a poor lap on that opening stint, so I don't think we'll see he can get much higher than he's at the moment because he's got to find quite an improvement on that lap. But I think, FVR, they realistically wanted to get themselves in towards that Q3 session so they can try and bring more of a fight to Vroom, because when they got the likes of Reece Linton and possibly in the future Kai Pearson racing for them, they've got two very quick hotshot drivers who will be looking to pose themselves into top 10s, maybe even higher than that. It's like seeing what we've got with Joseph Floke. He's had some great performances for SRT, and with him alone, he's really helped them move up a little bit further with some points. They're only, as I said earlier, about 20 points back from Williams Esports, which is one of the official esports teams. Remember, SRT are only a community team, so lots of Joseph Floke is good for them. It's the same with Reece Linton for Vroom. They need them drivers to help push them forwards in the races, because remember, you only need one driver to be doing well, and it can really help the team, because you've got other teams that are going to have both drivers at the bottom. If you have one driver at the top and one at the bottom, you're instantly going to be ahead. Josh?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I didn't hear you speak. I saw you wave at the camera. I was just hoping everything was all right. Are you still with us?
I am. I'm just sent a message into you, actually. That's why I was just saying keep talking. That was the thing.
Oh.
I just sent you a message on the E-Series com chat as they come into it, because I've just spotted something when I'm looking at the commentary monitor on the broadcast stream. So the top 6 coming out then, they have stayed in. So 7 down, back on out laps as well. We're watching Reece Linton at the moment. He's 13th, starting a lap time. He's coming in. First sector time was already up on the board. I'll give you that in a second once my timing screen starts to work. He's coming down towards turn 11 though. It was a 24.967, so he's 42 thousandths off his own best time. Into the braking zone then, flicks the car in, and then down the back straight towards turn 12. DRS in 150, 100. Now goes across the line. Looks good to me. Jeremy said that's enough, so he's out. He's our first elimination, and he was out on the track. So Jeremy is out. So that's going to leave the 2 FVRs in there as the checker flag comes out to end the session.
Yeah, I think he's in after the exit of turn 9, so big shame there indeed for Jeremy, who unfortunately will be stuck out down and starting in that 20th position. We've got Modesto Mena coming through in towards turn 17 and 18. We'll see what he can manage to do in this section. Heading through in towards turn 19 at the left-hander, then he'll get back on the power down in towards the final corner. We'll see, can he get himself out of that Q1 elimination zone, head to the final corner, up towards the line? What will it be for Modesto Mena? Is he out of Q1? Just about. Just eliminating his teammates so far. I don't think that will be safe at all. Paul Eckelmeyer goes into 7th. Great laps on there from the TF10. We've got Jan Halliday coming through as well, as that's Reece Linton popping himself into 8th position. Louis Welch into 6th. That nearly knocks out Lenny Papinter as Will Lewis goes into 8th. They're just ahead of Paul Eckelmeyer. What about Jan Halliday? Just Nordijk goes quickest with a 0.411. As we come through with the TES, can he knock his teammate back out into Q2? Yes, he will. So that is Modesto Mena out of qualifying. As Dylan Warren goes quickest, that puts Jan Halliday back closer to that elimination. So we've got Lenny Papinter also on a lap coming through. We've got the 2 FVRs. We'll switch then quickly as Golden Ugolo makes it to 16th. He's out of qualifying. What about Balint Elikash? Can he get himself out? Yes, he can. That knocks Jan Halliday out of qualifying. But Lenny Papinter, can he get himself out? Yes, he can. So he knocks back out the FVR of Balint Elikash. So there we are. A bit of a dramatic ending to Q1. We see both FVRs, both TES out, and that is a shame, because Jan Halliday, I wasn't expecting to see him out in Q1 after his performance back in Montreal.
That is a shocker. That has completely changed the position. Well done to Dylan Warren. He managed to get back from a bad qualifying. I'm surprised Paul Eckenheimer was back up there. He was in 7th. Look at that, already dropped to 13th place. But both FVRs out. Jan Halliday is out for TES, both of them out, and Jeremy out too. I expect, what we said before we come on air, we expected one of the Hasses to drop out. I expect Jeremy to be right at the back of the field. But the big shocker there, I think, is definitely the McLarens for TES. As you say, after a great performance at Montreal, they've fallen as we cross states over to America.
Yes, as sorry, can you get? It's right. It's got a bit of a. It's got to sort something out quickly.
What are we on? I'll keep talking. Q2 is underway here over overcast skies at the Circuit of the Americas. this 3.4-mile circuit. So there was chat that there was rain incoming. Paul Eckenheimer put it in the chat as well. Rain coming, yawn, yawn, with the sigh emoji. So you've got to be thinking, is that going to affect quali or the race? It depends, of course. It's random weather, so whatever it is, and we have a lobby reset, but I presume we'll get told what it is beforehand going into it as well. So we'll keep you updated as the cars venture out onto the track, and Grandpa's coming out as well. Max Wissel going to head out to the circuit.
Yeah, I was going to pop away a second. I just received a message. Yeah, it's quite urgent. I'll be back shortly.
So, out on the track then for the warm-up sessions. The cars this time will not bother with their intermediate runs. They will go straight out there on soft compound tyres as well. So it's the first one to run it as they venture. We're watching Grandpa now. We'll ride with him on the outlap. Now watch as he'll do this. He's in full charge, by the way, but he's hovering on the brake just to make sure the ERS stays on battery power. He's trying to get temperature up into those tyres as well. So he's riding around the track right now. I can see him. He's on full throttle, but he's on like 25% brake pedal. Drivers do that as well to generate the tyre temperatures up and the front brakes, heat them up as much as they can. And they'll go through the heat cycles as well, braking, accelerating. They won't tend to weave on the straights that much. They don't want to lose wrist on it, so it's the tyre temperature gain. Tests out the DRS, make sure it's all hit, stays in 5th gear, brings up the rev limiter, make sure everything is A-OK, all set. He's hovering around about 150 miles per hour. And he's now just going to get through on one of the Alpha Tauris. He's going to stick it around the outside. Oof, not like to get that. The VA boys better head out there as well, thinking about it. That must be, what is it, Max, or is it? It's not Max, so he's passing Lemonsky as well, who's down in 7th position. So Max is just ahead there on the picture as well, with Lemonsky just behind him. But we'll ride with Max on his first lap time here for TF10. Look at this, coming through the back sector. They'll just back up, they'll just get it all together to make sure that they've got the track room. Hovers in about 2nd gear, and as soon as they exit turn 19, it'll be full throttle coming out of it to go it up. So now you can see he's going slow at the exit, waiting for his turn. Now you can see him weaving up because he's not going fast enough to generate heat to the tyres. So he's using the warm-ups, and now he starts because ahead, Max started his lap, and now out of the last corner, booted hard, activate the DRS, and it's uphill towards turn number 1. Activate the battery to max as you head up into the braking zone. Already used around about 15% of your energy as you regenerate 2 to 3% of that back. Nicely through the first corner, generates on the power. You can hear him lifting on the throttle as he comes downhill into the Mickey Mouse section. Make sure not to take too much curb. He's looking okay to me on the off-board pictures, looking okay as he swings through. First sector time is coming up. I'll tell you that's a 24.934. Little bit cautious as he comes up through turn 8 and 9, as he comes down to the braking zone for turn number 11. Hard on the brakes. He's used around about 60, well now 40% of energy. He's regenerated up a bit more, flicks it through. You keep the DRS open again as we go back through and listen to the engine sing as he comes down to the braking zone for turn 12. 45% of battery left. Will Lewis, he set our first time. It's a 1:31.559. Sector 2's time is coming at the exit as Just Nordvik now goes 1:31. Ismail Fassi 1:31.258. This is our lap times. 1:01 for the middle sector. A little bit of oversteer coming in for Max as well as he comes into turn 16 now. And now the triple right. Flicks it through, stays in 5th gear, got 36% of energy left. He's timed this to perfection. Maximum deployment over the lap time. He can... Had a bit of oversteer as well, had to correct it. Hits the apex in the 20, try and make up for it. Back on the power a little early. Is this a time? It's only fifth fastest, 1:31.522. He lost a lot of time in that last sector, coming back into it.
Yeah, I'm back now, everyone. I had a bit of an odd message. A friend of mine messaged me saying, in capital letters, "Are you okay?" I thought, oh no, what's happened? Turns out the electric has gone out on most of the estate, and I was thinking, oh no, something worry's happened. But yes, I'm back. So if I do just disappear, that's probably because the internet started, the electric's died. Apparently, half of my estate has got the electric completely out. So we're here for now. My mum just told me that we're one of the lucky ones. So if it does disappear, that is why.
Yeah, somebody get Richie a generator round about now.
But we should be fine, hopefully. But yes, I missed that first part of Q2, but it looks like it's been quite eventful.
Yeah, nothing. Do you want to take over for a second so I can catch my breath back?
I can do. Well, the gap to 10th is 0.3 of a second. That's quite short, meaning I think anyone probably second down would probably want to go back out for a final lap. Otherwise, I don't think they'll be that safe for Q3. Ismail Fassi, he could be. He's on that 131.2. He's got a 1/10 gap to Chanakinchi in second. And further back as well, not an ideal lap time from Max Grosspointer, who's in 12th. He's nearly 5 tenths back from the fastest lap time. We've got Sergio Sereno. He's 6 thousandths back from Mirko Soriano into that drop zone. So that will also be quite a shame for him if he ends up being knocked out in this Q2 session. And we can see as well, obviously, no lap time set from Louis, Lenny or Joseph, who was sitting 13th, 14th and 15th. So those 5 are your 5 in the drop zone for Q2. We obviously have one more run for the drivers yet to commit before we see who will be out at the end of this qualifying 2 session, who will see the top 10 going through in towards Q3. But yet again, as I said, Josh, I don't think anyone's second down is safe here in this qualifying session. I think Ismail Fassi probably will be, but I don't know if he's going to take that risk of doing it. He's got a 3/10 gap to before the dropout zone, but it depends, you know, how many drivers made mistakes on their laps or how many drivers just didn't get that lap hooked up. Because if that's the case, and a lot of drivers did so, maybe he's not safe. But if I was him, maybe I would take that risk and retire. But we'll see what he chooses to do. At the end of the day, he's a driver, I'm not. So
8 minutes to go. Not just yet. Give it a couple. Give it a couple.
And just to clarify for everyone, no, Jarno is not here today. I've seen a lot of people ask that. No, Jarno is not racing here today. So hopefully that clarifies it up for everyone. And you know, if it's E-Series, Jarno won't be here. Mercedes aren't taking part. So yeah, so if you ever see the E-Series stream, Jarno will never ever be here. Maybe in the chat, but definitely not racing. As we can see, Lenny Pinto getting ready to start his farm. Well, not farm. We've got 8 minutes left, so he's going to be starting his probably second to last lap here in this Q2 session, heading down in towards that first corner. And Jan Halliday says in the chat, guys, I need tips for the race. What should I do? You should probably ask your engineers. I'm the ones who should be telling you what to do. Yeah, not us. I gave you a strategy yesterday in CTC. You never went with it, so you know it's your own fault. You're left in the dirt now. Try and work out the strategy for yourself. Right, heading through with Lenny just in towards the end of that first sector. We'll see what he can do in that first sector, 24.998.
Right.
Then through towards sector 2 he begins, then towards turn 9, then it'll be a bit of a kink at turn 10 before stepping onto the brakes down at turn number 11 before he gets that DRS, which will lead him all the way down in towards that 12th corner. Last time we saw an Alpine, was it Alpine when Fernando Alonso flew in the air, or was it Aston Martin?
No, he was driving an Alpine. He hit Stroll.
So yes, we've seen an Alpine fly here before, and we're not going to see one fly here yet today. We never know what's going to happen in the race, but for now, it's not going to fly down in towards turn number 12, hits that inside apex. And I've seen many drivers there, Josh, invalidate at that point, and I'm either blind or it's raining.
It is raining. You're right. It started raining, and that's Lenny Pipinta sliding it around. So that explains why everybody was out there on the immediate lap times, not setting bankers at the start of this one. I said the rain was a possibility. So it is starting to rain, which means Q3 is going to be really interesting when we get going for that. So we might have a shortened Q2, which is good because it'll save us a couple of minutes that the drivers spent readying up. Lenny Pipinta then, has he got the final, the best conditions? No! Look at that, 131.8, so the track is lost. So that's it. No one will do an improvement. So out goes Sergio Bruno. And wow, both SRTs out as well. And we've got RC out. Oh, wow. How lucky was Mirko Serrano as well for Ferrari.
Well, we've got Joseph Floke. I want to keep on board with him. He goes a little bit wide at turn on. He's a driver who can make the most of any conditions. We'll see. Can he try and get himself out of that queue? I just don't think it'll be enough to line. Only 14th fastest. I think the track is long gone. I don't think there's any improvements going to be made by anyone. Louis Welch. He goes into 14th, just a 10th quicker than his teammate. And I think that could be everyone. I think that could be it for the qualifying session. We'll go on board with Sergio Sereno. He's just heading through in towards the next couple of corners. But, yeah, I think we didn't see a good time from Lenny. We didn't see a good time from Louis or Joseph. So maybe that is it for Race Clutch. Both of those out in, a second off for Sergio Sereno. So that is it, I think, here in Q2. So both of the Race Clutches out going into Q3. They're sitting third in the championship. They're 5 points back from Veloce Academy. So they got a very unfortunate starting position. Max Grosspoint for Veloce Academy himself, he's out in 12th, whereas his teammate, Simon did make it through. So they'll have one of them to fight for pole position in the top 10. We've got both the SRTs, Louis Welch and Joseph Floke, both out in Q2. Yet again, a bit of a disappointing time for SRT here in this qualifying session. So yeah, that's it for Q2, I believe. We're going to stay aboard quickly just in case there's any change in the conditions, but I just don't think that's going to be that likely. So I think, well, If that's the case, hopefully all the drivers retire now and we don't have to wait for 5
Yeah,
minutes.
Sabers it. Sabers that voice, please. I need to go get a drink at some point as well.
Yeah,
so
it's
Ismail Fassi's retired.
a big shame, isn't it? But then the question I've got is, why didn't they go out at the start? Because I'm sure we saw. I don't think Louis went out, did he, at the start? I don't think he did.
No, they didn't.
So,
No, neither SRTs did. So they've really messed up the strategy there.
So we've got Dylan, Yost, Shimon, Ismail Fassi all retiring from the session. We've got
Lenny
Mirko
left
just
it
coming through.
just on the cusp and got.
Yeah.
Lenny got 13th, but the track was gone by then.
He had to find another 3/10, which just wasn't going to be possible, was it, at that point? So he's also going to be, fortunately, out for race, which you can see retires in the pits. We've got Mirko Soriano just popping himself back into the pit lane. Max Wiesel's hate on the circuit as well. Both of the TF10s getting through to Q3. That's good for them. Obviously, we certainly needed to get on some form. They've got both their drivers in the top 10 going in towards Q3. That is very ideal for them. They got, I think, about a 20-ish point gap back to TES. They're starting 16th and 17th. They've got a bit of a similar gap to SRT, who are starting 14th and 15th. If TF10 can get themselves where they are now in the race, 5th and 6th, they could be looking to close in further and further too. That gap for 6th, and maybe they could even take 6th place away today. I'm not quite sure exactly what the points are. I'm not very good at the mathematics mentally, but I think they could actually take 6th if they can get a decent result for at least one of the cars in that top 10. So yes, it could be a change of turn for the TF10 team. Then obviously we've got at the back Vroom and FER there. They got one driver through to Q3, which will be Reece Linton. We saw that back in, I think, Monaco with Andre Molnar, and obviously both FERs 8 in Q1 as well. So they've also going to suffer a little bit more in this championship. But yeah, so the rain's here. There's no more qualifying going to be set. Hopefully all the cars retire soon, and we can actually get on to Q3 because it's going to be a bit of a long wait. And well, I don't think that's going to be happening, as I've noticed Paul Echomeyer has got onto the set of intermediate tyres.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone.
Well, the rain's not gone, is it? The rain's just arrived. You should have said that in Q1, Josh. Maybe you'll say it in Q3, but also... Well,
maybe the rain.
Well, maybe I think the rain will stay for Q3. I want it to. If the rain's going to be here now, at least stay for Q3. Give us an interesting inter-qualifying, because it is always lovely, isn't it, when we get a wet to dry Q3 session when anyone can take pole. I think that is what we're all going to be waiting for. But yeah, we've got 2 minutes left to go, and we'll have a bit of an anticlimactic end to the Q2 session. But I know all the race clutch people in the chat will be quite furious with that, because they're third in the championship and they've both drivers out in Q2. As you can see, Mirko Soriano just surviving by, what's that, 0.06 of a second into Q3. That could have been a bit of a heartbreak for Ferrari. You can see Joseph Lerck obviously going to give us a bit of a showing on the soft tyres out on the wet track. So that makes me think, if he's going on a set of softs now, is there going to be rain next session? Because surely you wouldn't want to waste a set of softs, would you?
No. So this is... and also, I don't think he's going to get through, so...
No, he's definitely not. Oh, wait, yeah. I forgot about that part. I should have remembered that.
It's a last-ditch attempt, isn't it? To try and get through, but he's done.
The track's wet. So it's a shame for Joseph. He's one of those that, I was thinking would have probably been fighting for the pole position. He did it last time in Montreal. He looked quick in the Q1. I think he was in the top 5 in Q1. So, yeah, he's one of our, I think, pole position contenders out, along with Andy Pipinter, also another driver who we've seen fight for pole positions on many occasions before. He's also out in Q2. But it's nice to see the likes of both the TF10s into Q3. It's nice to see as well Reece Linton as well for Vroom into Q3. That's good for them, obviously, as we know, are currently sitting down in 9th position. They're 30 points back from TF10 on 57. So they've got to think of something now. They've got Jeremy starting last, so he's not going to, I don't think, going to make much of this race. But Reece has got to get himself, I think, a top 4, top 5, and he can help the team try and close up to the rest of the pack, because they are quite far off. And it's a big shame, because going into this, I thought Vroom would be a bit of an underdog. I thought we'd see them take some decent results, and I thought we'd see them around that 7th, 8th spot. But they're, at the moment, scraping for 9th/10th. They're only 1 point ahead of FER, but with those at the back, I don't think FER have got much of a chance of defending. I don't think they've got much of a chance of attacking for that 9th position, because they're going to score, 4 or 5 points, I think, being down at that bottom part of the grid.
They're too far down, aren't they, at the moment? So it's a disappointment, isn't it?
Well, Joseph will be starting a lap on the soft tyres without DRS, without a dry track, so we'll see what he manages to do, but I don't think it'll be much at all. You can see Paul and Louis have stayed in the pits. We've got 7 seconds to go, so obviously Joseph won't be committing any more in this session. This will be his final lap on circuit, and there you can see the shaker flag has came out. So it will be Louis Welch, unfortunately, out And obviously Paul Eckermann making it through in towards queue number 3, but we'll go on board Joseph Lowe for this. Well,
It's
not really
just
much
gonna
of
be
a
funny,
fine lap, is
really.
it?
Yeah. Well, 25, he's lost it. He's 8 tenths down only, so that's on his own time. No, it's got worse. Yeah, look at that. Drifting, look, he's lost it. He's lost, and he's gone round.
He saved it.
Oh, well, that's a 9 out of 10.
We'll see what he does now.
That's a 9 out of 10.
Will he complete the lap or will he crash? I remember last time, I think it was Brazil,
Oh, yeah.
Andres Harabukin crashed in race clutch and he got a penalty for it. So Joseph can't do the same. He's got to finish the lap.
Holding up position as well, yeah. So the drivers are now going to be watching this on the commentary that we're doing.
Like,
right
come
now.
on, hurry up, get it over with.
Time wasting when we haven't got much time left. He's out of qualifying. In fact, I don't know why he's out there. He's allowed to be out there, of course, but he's on drive. He's 8 seconds off. There could be a penalty somewhere because he's now holding up the rest of the proceedings.
I don't think there will be, because the session could have gone this long even if we did have the dry session. You can see drifting through towards turn 16. And I'm seeing in the chat a lot of people saying about it being he's testing the Aston Martin. Obviously, that's what he's won with the Young Drivers Award. It's the leaked footage of him testing the Aston Martin. Well, if they've let him go out onto a wet track on soft tyres, I think I'll be quite worried of the Aston Martin's health and safety regulations.
Oh, he's giving us a show and
You can
spin
see.
across the line.
Oh, no,
No,
just
no,
about
not
missing it, but
quite.
it will
What
be
line?
1 minute and 51.5 for Josie Floke, who unfortunately is out in qualifying, which is something we all knew anyway. So yeah, Josie Floke will be starting this race in 15th position, just behind his teammate Louis Welch will be in 14th, and we'll also see as well who's out. So we obviously got Sergio Serena, Max Grosspointer and Lenny Papinta joining them in the drop zone, but the top 10 is Ishmael Fassi, 10th ahead of Chana Kinching, and we've got Dylan Warren in 3rd, Joseph Nordijk in 4th for RHG. They're looking very strong so far in the qualifying stages here at Coast. We've got the 2 TF10s sitting 5th and 6th. We've got Reese Linton in 7th. We've got Shimla Comsing in 8th. Will Lewis, a 2nd. Williams in 9th. And we've got the 2nd Ferrari of Mirko Soriano in the top 10. So going in towards Q3, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams, I think. 6 teams going through. So, you know, you've got more we've got more sets of teams making it through. Normally we see sometimes only one driver make it through, but this time we've got full teams making it through in towards that Q3 session. So we'll see
What's
from
the
here, we
weather
get a
like
bit of
there?
teamwork. Obviously, slipstream, I believe, isn't allowed, but you can still work together and it is going to be wet. This is what we want, isn't it, Josh? A wet Q3. Now, the question is, if anyone does know in the chat, let us know, does it get drier? Does it stay the same? Or does it get wetter? Because that will kind of depict what will happen in this session. But we'll see who's we'll see who's going to be going out first once the session just begins, which it just has, and we'll see who's first to go out. I'm gonna have a guess. I'm gonna scroll through. I'm gonna say it's gonna be Ishmael Fassi who's first out.
You said about the slipstreaming. It is banned, and you're not allowed to slipstream.
Oh, it was his teammate, Will Lewis.
Yeah.
Oh, I was on the right team, but Will Lewis will be out on track first for
He's
the
nice.
Williams team. We got, I think, one of the Alfa Romeos heading through, one of the Hasses. Can't see with that stupid board in the way, the leaderboard on the left. So yeah, the 2 Alfa Romeos and the Haas heading through. So that's RHG and Vroom. Along with Ishmael Fassi, he was at 5th to exit onto track. So yeah, we've got 10 drivers fighting for that pole position on a wet, sudden coaster track. It could be quite interesting. It depends as well what setups the drivers use for qualifying. Some of them might have used dry setups, some of them might have used a wet setup, hence why we saw some drivers be a little bit further out of contention at the end of that Q2 session, at the end of Q1 as well. So we'll see. We'll see which drivers use that wet and which ones use the dry. So we'll have a lobby restart, meaning if you wanted to, you could go into a wet setup if the race is going to be dry, because you're going to restart anyway. So might as well prepare the car for Q3.
So this is going to be very, very fast and very, very crucial to what we're about to see, which is perfect for us. Which one? Which Ferrari then? Which TF10? to keep taking pole positions this year.
Well, it has been though. So I don't think anyone else has taken pole positions apart from the Ferraris and the TF10s.
Yeah.
I think we've had a couple of pole. I think Isam Pookie took 2 poles. Max Wiesel Noah's took 2 poles this season. Maybe it could be a third for him. I don't know. But then again, he hasn't seemed in his, I wouldn't say dominant fashion, but he hasn't seemed to be in his top 3 fashions he's been in the past. He's been around that 5th, 6th area through Q1 and Q2. As you can see as well, Will Lewis was heading through towards turn 16, 17, 18, the triple right-hander, as you head through towards the final part of the circuit. And this is, I think, where we'll see the most incidents on the drivers, because we know it's easy to lose her in the dry, never mind in the wet. So Will Lewis heading through towards turn 19. He'll head through in towards turn 20 to begin the first lap in the wet conditions here for the qualifying 3 at round 6 of the E-Series Championship, heading at the final corner down towards turn 1. He goes, obviously no DRS being enabled down to here, so you won't get that advantage down towards the first. Well, I don't think there's DRS down towards turn 1 anyway, but there is down towards turn 12 either way. So we'll head down towards turn number 1, throw the car in. Obviously wanted to brake a little bit earlier, taking a bit more of that trail braking strategy through as you're heading towards turn number 2. Now to the right hand side, be careful getting on the power. You can see just being a bit more careful on the throttle, being careful in the turning of the car as he heads through now into towards the S's section. Turns 3 down towards turn 6 through here as well. You'll know you've got a little bit wider and carry a little bit less speed than you would through in the dry conditions. Just hopping the curb at turn 8 and 9. Back to the right, and you can see just having to be a little bit more careful on the throttle. And I think we'll see quite a few mistakes, won't we, Josh, in this first sector?
Yeah, no DRS either, so this is all on battery. You can see it's now at 70% compared to where at this point in the lap it would be at 60. So it's 10% less battery power for throttle, and you can see it reflecting the lap time as he rackles 4th gear, now up to 6th, 7th. He'll pull 8th, but he's used now 40% of battery power into the braking zone. This will be quite tricky though. Look at that, 10 mile an hour slower and 10 kilometers an hour slower in the wet than in the dry. Second sector delta coming up, it's a 107.176 as he comes into this section of the track, which is really horrible in the wet because you're just aquaplaning everywhere on rear grip.
Yep, just heading through towards turn number 15 now on the exit, going through in towards the triple right-handers. This is where we'll see most of the mistakes because you've got to be very careful. You've got to counter the steering many times through this section unless you can just get your foot planted down on the exit like Will Lewis does. Then in towards turn 19, throw it to the left. Have to we had to recorrect on the turning. Then he was going to end up going a little bit to the inside in towards turn 20. So you'll see what lap time that Will Lewis can do. The first lap time here in the Q3 session will be 1 minute 40.975. We've got the two RHGs coming through. Chanakinchi goes into second, a 10th back. On his time, we've got Yosunok as well, heading up to the line. He goes fastest by a 10th of a second too. Will Lewis. Then we have Reese Linton coming through. Can he try and take that pole position away? Yes, he can. Yes. With a 40.628. Great lap time there from him. Then we've got the two TF10s coming through, I believe. Dylan Warren. That's Mirko Soriano popping himself into 5th. Ishmael Fassi goes fastest. Max Wiesel goes even quicker there than the Williams. Then we got Shumin Lukovsky into the top 4. What about Dylan Warren? Can he try to take pole? No, he can't. He goes into 5th.
Lost a lot of time in that last 2 corners. The car twitched like crazy, but he was on course for pole position, I can tell you now.
Well, we could see possibly a Max Wiesel pole yet again. He's 3rd of the season. We've had 6 rounds. He'll take pole in 50% of the races so far. What about Paul Eckelman? Can he try to take that pole away? No, he will finish that first run in 10th position only. Well, actually, that's about 3 tenths off the back of Chanakinchi. His time was 2nd at one point. It shows that his time wasn't really that representable towards the end, but he's dropped all the way down to 9th position. He's 5.5 tenths-ish off the back of Max Wiesel, who's ahead of Ishmael Fassi. Reese Linton in 3rd for Vroom. That is the type of qualifying result they need, as they got half a tenth as well to Shimla Komsky, who's currently sitting in 4th position. Obviously, they're 2nd in the championship. They've got a good run, possibly to try and extend that gap to Race Clutch. They're starting 11th and 13th at the moment. Shimla Komsky starting in 4th. Which would be very key for Veloce to, well, I don't think they're going to close too much on Ferrari, but at least to try and pull away from Race Clutch and try and eliminate that pressure from the, obviously, the esports teams. Veloce, we know, are a community team. The others are, well, it's a community team because, I don't know, it's a bit half and half. It's a real esports team, but it's kind of the community side of the team, the academy side. So, obviously, lots of Ferrari, Race Clutch, RHG and Williams, they're using some of their more, well, I wouldn't want to say high-level drivers, but, you know, the high-level development drivers. Yeah. I don't know to say that it's saying bad, but you can kind of get the gist of what I mean. So it's great to see Veloce, obviously, ahead of lots of 3 of the esports teams. Just heading through and towards the last couple of corners is Lukomsky, obviously going to be heading back into bits, I believe, on this lap. Yes, he will be. There we can see just heading back through. Anyone else going to be starting a new lap? I don't think they will be. Everyone's going to be doing just one run at the start of this Q3 session. And oh, is he?
Yeah, he's been saving battery power, and I thought, oh, he's coming back in the pits. Then I looked down, he's saved 80% of battery power, and Dylan is going for another run.
Well, we'll see what he can achieve. Maybe he can try and get a faster run than his current run at the moment. He's currently sitting 5th at a 1 minute 40.707. That's about a 1.6 tenths off the back of Max Wiesley's team at Mercosur on in 8th. So 5th and 8th for Ferrari. Isn't that ideal? For some teams, that'd be great, but for Ferrari, it's definitely not. That's all. We normally expect to see them both in the top 4, top 5 in qualifying, as we can just go on board with Dylan Warren's half tenth day in that first set, so we've still got time to game in the 2nd and 3rd, but the first set definitely was far from ideal. Invalidate, so that's his lap time completed for now, unfortunately, for Dylan Warren. Mirko Soriano, he's going to also continue on his run. He's just heading through towards the end of that first set, so he's on to sector 2 now. He's just heading through towards turns number 10 at the left, then he'll head in towards the breakdown at turn number 11, and we'll see what he can do. He's currently 5 tenths off the back of Max Wiesel, so he's going to find a lot of time in these next runs. Just heading out turn 11 down towards turn 12. We'll see what he can do. But I think realistically, his best bet will be to head back into the pits and go again at the end of Q3, isn't it?
Yeah, the Ferraris tried something different, but they're running out of time now to get back into the pit lane and go out again. So it was a good try, but a quick change of tyres, fuel setup change, and go, because you're running out of time. 4 minutes 30 left.
Yeah, and Mirko's 4 tenths down on that first time, so yeah, he's not going to find much improvement with that at all, unless he made a massive mistake in this final sector, which I don't think he would have made a mistake that cost him 4 tenths of a second. However, but we have got a few cars on track. We've got Max Vettel on the outlap. We've got Joost Noordijk, Will Lewis, and Chanakinchi also out to start their second runs in this session. And depending on how much fuel they put in, they could maybe do 2 or 3 runs at the end of qualifying and just see what they can find at the end. Unless they want to be, some of the drivers might, there might be some drivers that will go probably at the end and do that one run. It just depends on what your style of qualifying is in the wet.
So Mirko's into the pits both. So now we're seeing TF10, Max going out there with Grandpa, so he's going out. So Ferrari off kilter here. And I just worry if that's going to cost them in this session.
It could well do. We'll see what that does for them indeed. What we got, Max just heading towards turn 10. We've got a few ahead. I think Joost Noordijk will be the first to begin a lap here, near the end of Q3. We've got 3.5 minutes left to go, so he could probably afford to do 2 runs in the next part of this session, depending on how long it takes him to get towards the line. But I think he'll have more than enough time to do 2 runs in this qualifying. But yeah, I think at this point, with the weather track, anyone could take pole. Absolutely anyone. So we want to know in chat, who do you think will take pole position? We've got 10 drivers fighting for it. At the moment, it is Max Vettel on that pole ahead by 70 thousandths to Ismail Fassi. But we want to know who you think will take pole position. We know sometimes you might be a bit more biased to your teammates, but it's all in that spirit of good faith of who you think will take pole. And hopefully for your teammates, they can take pole here in this session. So Joost Noordijk heading out the final corner to begin his next run here in Q3. Normally we'd be saying the final run, but I think they could probably get another 2 runs out of this. So we'll see what Joost Noordijk chooses to do. If he makes a mistake in his first run, he can easily save up his battery and go again. He just heads through towards turns 1 and 2, and I think the track hasn't really got much wetter, but it hasn't really got much drier, has it, Josh? It's kind of just sticking around that inter-weather category. It
hasn't changed one bit, which is great for us, but I did want it to dry up to see somebody risk a set of slicks. They're not going to do that, so it's inters only as Max now starts a lap time up towards turn number 1. But is he good enough? He's lost 10% already in towards that first corner on energy. There's a few of them now just getting out of the way on traffic. It's going to be a very much a 2-lap run. The first is sort of a banker. How much do you push? Then how much energy you've got left for the second lap? This could be very crucial, depending on what weather they hit and what traffic they hit.
Well, Noordijk was steady in that first sector by nearly 2 tenths of a second. Max is only down by 60 thousandths, but it seems the track he's maybe got a little bit worse because people aren't really improving that much on their lap times. We'll see. We'll go back to Joost Noordijk to see if he found any improvements in the second sector as he comes through to the end of it. Is he up? He's 4.5 tenths down, so no improvements being made for Joost Noordijk. So I think there might be no more improvements made in this session, possibly. Or at least no more improvements being made at this point in time.
Seems like that's it then, doesn't it?
Could be. We'll see.
Hopefully have a couple of surprises coming, but middle of the sector for Max and the TF10 and the Red Bull, not looking too good, is it? Comes to the breakings over turn 12. It's an okay entry, a little bit off at the exit. What is it? 107. He's 3 tenths down. Oh well, it's over if this is it then.
Yeah, Reece Linton, he's up on his first set time by just under half a tenth of a second. Joost Noordijk retired on that lap time, a 1:40.886, so it'll be 6th at best for Joost Noordijk. We can see Reece Linton still, he was on an improvement in that first set. Chanakinchi also takes retirement. Will Lewis as well. I don't think anyone's finding any improvements on the circuit at the moment. I think this could be the best of the conditions. We'll see though if Reece Linton can find an improvement, because he was up in that first sector heading down towards turn 12. Max has done that, so he won't find anything more in this session. Reece, is he up in that middle? No, he's a 10.5 down. So to be fair, Reece has done a decent lap considering everyone else was like 3 or 4 tenths down on his lap. He was only 10th down. So,
and he went a little bit wide though, coming through 15-16, so he might have lost a sector. But he might still improve on third. Maybe he can get second.
Well, I think maybe Paul Eckelmeyer could find an improvement, because if Reece is only 2 tenths down on his lap, that could still put Paul on for maybe a 40.9. We'll see if Reece goes back in the pitch. Yes, he will. Is Mirko going to stay out? Yes. Dylan is going out. Mirko, sorry, is on a lap. I think Dylan's on an out lap to begin another lap, so the Ferraris will take that one last chance. Is Paul going to take another chance? Yes, he is. So he will see what he can do along with Shimon Lakomsky and I think Ismail Fassi. No, Ishmael. Yes, Ishmael is on a lap. He's just heading through in towards the next few corners, but they're just going to try and find anything they can, haven't they, Josh, in their times? And Ishmael's down by 7 tenths on his lap. What about Mirko? Is he going to find any improvements in this first sector as he heads through He's 39,000 staying, so he's not in too shabby of a position so far. But it seems the most of the time lost, he's been down in that last
Had a
set to be
moment.
obviously turn 13 through to turn 16.
Paul's had a moment, so he's out of it already. So Paul's not going to do an improvement. I think Lemonski's a little bit down on deltas. Oh, he's invalidated his lap time anyway. So Ismail Fassi, Dylan Warren, and Marcus Rana, they're the ones we're watching right now on the screen. I've got my fingers on 2, 5, and 8 as well to see what we're having. As Ismail Fassi a little bit late in the braking zone at turn 12. Dylan's down the back straight away. Marcus Rana's next up. So it'll be Ismail Fassi, Mirko, and Dylan across the line. And Mirko's made an error coming down to the braking zone for 12, and he's lost it. He's backed off, and he's lost it. He's completely lost it. Time is done. And now it's all eyes to Dylan, who's 2 tenths down. And Ismail Fassi snapping. Yeah, the conditions got worse.
Yep, they have. And it doesn't look that visible compared to before, but yeah, there's nothing the drivers could do to save that. So Lukomsky will finish in that 4th position. We can see further back, that's Paul making a bit of a mistake through in towards turn 15, so that's his qualifying done as well, along with the 2 Ferraris and the Williams. So, yes, again, a bit of an anticlimactic ending to the qualifying session here for the USA Grand Prix here at COTA. And obviously, we'll see the final classification shortly once Paul and Dylan cross the line. Mirko just heading back into the pits. Dylan will follow suit as well, back in towards that pit lane, and Paul as well, turning round in towards turn 19. Then he'll fly towards turn, well, he'll go into the pits before he gets to turn 20. So we'll see shortly what the qualifying would all be for the USA Grand Prix. As you can see now, Paul entering the pits, so he will start that 10th. But it is yet again Max Fiesel on pole here for the American Grand Prix. His teammate Paul going to be starting in 10th, so it's a TF10 sandwich in that top 10. Ismail Fassi as well on the front row. That's great for Williams to try and find something here in this championship. They're currently sitting 10 points back from RHG. They've got their drivers 2nd and 7th. RHG got their drivers 6th and 9th. So I think at this point, I think Williams would just about have enough to try and outscore them for that 4th position in the championship. But depending on what happens with Race Clutch down in 11th and 13th, maybe RHG and Williams could both close in quickly on the Alpine Race Clutch team. Obviously, SRT, unfortunately, down in 14th and 15th. Tomasheng Sim Racing, unfortunately, down in 16th, I think 16th and 17th. So TF10 are in prime position to try and take 6th in the championship at the very least today. Here, as you can see, Max Fields takes pole ahead of Ismail Fassi in 2nd. Reese Linton, 3rd for Vroom. That's their best qualifying performance by a country mile here this season. We can see Shimon Lekomsky starts in 4th, Dylan Warren in the top 5. Then we have Joost Noordijk in 6th, Will Lewis in 7th for the Williams team. You've got Mirko Soriano 8th, Chana Kinchi in 9th, and then Paul Eckelmeyer runs out the top 10 here for the race. And, well, I was expecting a little bit more in qualifying, but it will be Max on pole, something we've seen multiple times. I think he's just got to hope he can hold it together, because the question is it going to be wet? Is it going to be dry for the race? Because we don't know that yet, do we, Josh?
No, we won't find out for a little bit longer at the moment. So that's going to be, I don't want to say it, but it's going to be exciting, isn't it?
Indeed, and before we get back towards the intermission screen, we'll have a quick word from our sponsors over at GT Omega. So welcome back, everyone, for the post-qualifying procedures here at the E-Series Championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all right. I had a bit of a drink, and I think I swallowed it the wrong way. But, yeah, we're going to wait now for the lobby to be really started before we head our way through in towards that 28-lap race here at COTA. We had a wet qualifying at the end. We had a dry qualifying at the start, so we'll see what the weather chooses to do here today for the race. It'd be nice to see a bit of change in weather. But I think realistically, I think a wet race on itself is boring, but I think a dry to wet or a wet to dry is fun, because that's where you get to the different strategies coming to play. That's where you get to see the drivers taking risks.
Yeah.
But when it's fully wet, there's not really much going on, because you can't make overtakes because there's no DRS. You're kind of all stuck in that train. So I would like to see maybe a bit of interchangeable conditions in the race. But then again, a dry race itself is always fun anyway. So we'll see what the race decides to throw at us. We're just going to wait now so we can get back in the lobby. I think Lou Welch has set the lobby back up. Yes, he has. For the start of the race, obviously, we've just got the 28 laps, 50% to the normal F1 format. And, well, Josh, what do you think was the... Well, we didn't have much happening in qualifying, but what would you say was the most outstanding performance from a driver in qualifying today?
Thought it was really good from Max again for TF10, 3rd pole in the 6th. Ferrari, really interesting strategy to go out there, do 2 runs in the beginning of qualifying. That was cost them as well because they missed the conditions. Um, I think as well it was a one-hit wonder, wasn't it, in Q3? TF
Yeah.
as well, impressive. But I think the Aston Martin's really shocking. They're so far down the order as well,
Yeah,
and
it is. Yeah,
it's going to be really fun to see get it
we
going.
haven't seen SRT take a lot of points in this championship, but we have seen them at many points, be in that top 10, be in a fight possibly for some decent points. But now they've got lots of Joseph like kind of there, it's there. He's their one shot. He's probably their quickest driver in the team at the moment.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he's going to start in 15th, just on the cusp of that Q1 eliminations. And his teammate Louis Welch, he's in 14th. He's going to have a bit of a struggle as well from that far back on the grid. But I think TES, after coming off such a high in Montreal with a third place in Cheyenne Halliday, then they're going to start down in 16th. It's either 16th and 17th or 16th and 18th. But then also the FVRs. We hardly saw any of them, didn't we? Unfortunately, they start right at the back, along with Jeremy Gallagher, who had that incident then at turn 9. So yeah, it was a bit of a shameful Q1. Seeing many drivers who I think should have got through, unfortunately making it out, and then Q2 as well. We had what I'd say 3 of the drivers being Joseph, Lenny, and Sergio. Very surprising to see them out. I think the other 2 as well, obviously seeing Max and Louis out was surprising, but I think those 3 in particular, I would have expected to at least get into top 3. I think into the Q3. I think the likes of Lenny, I'd expect to see him in the top 5. Not in 13th, so maybe a bit of a strategy change will be made for the race clutch. I think they probably would have made their strategy based on them being in the top 10 because it's what we would have expected. But no, they're going to be starting a little bit further back, so we'll see what their tyre strategy will be. Maybe if you're further back, I'd expect the likes of those like Jan possibly to go into a set of softs at the start, or maybe a set of mediums. Just try and have a bit more of that advantage at the start of the race. Just try and pull yourself forward and then go for a bit of an undercut. But if the rain comes, then it can be thrown out the window. But I think, maybe a bit of an undercut stretch from those at the back could try and help them just try and scrape and hold on to a few points. Yeah, I think then again, the weather's dynamic, so it can be anything. We haven't got a set weather for the race. So yeah, we got one driver left to get in the session, which will be one of the both of the TF10s. So come on, quick, Max, Grandpa. We know you're a bit older, but you should be able to get yourself into the session quick enough. And his teammates,
for goodness sake.
yeah, and teammate Paul Eckermeyer try and get back in ASAP so we can get ourselves in towards what should be quite an exciting race. Obviously, 3 rounds left, this one being included. The championship, I'd say, it's pretty much done over with Ferrari, but you've got lots of battles, lots of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the championship. You've got SRT there having a bit of a battle with TES, 2 points separating those. We've got Vroom and FVR, 1 point separating those down as well. And then we've got TF10 kind of in that mid pack there, about 30 points ahead of Vroom, 20 points back from TES. So if they can find some form today, they could also be in that mix for that 5th, 6th place fight. So yeah, I think apart from first, we've got lots of battles going on. It's a little bit like IRL F1, isn't it? Apart from Red Bull
It
up
is.
front, there's battles everywhere. So I think, maybe team, obviously, I think Ferrari are probably a little bit more smug, sitting back confident, they know they've probably got it, unless they make some big total mess ups. But I think the other teams are going to be completely on the edge of their seats the whole time, the managers, the engineers, the drivers, the fans, because they know there's still a lot to fight for. There's still a lot of risk being taken in these next 3 rounds. Obviously, Kota, followed by Suzuka and Jeddah. I'd say those last 2, Suzuka and Jeddah, are quite challenging tracks, aren't they, Josh?
They are, and Suzuka's a proper old school
Mhm.
tight circuit, very hard to overtake at. Really, you've got the hairpin and spoon curve, and then maybe the Casio triangle. That's 3 overtaking spots on a 20 quarter track. Compared that to Saudi Arabia, where you've got 27 turns and realistically around about 15 opportunities to overtake as well. So it's a really opportunistic final 2 races for anyone to come in and try and steal it. But Ferrari stand a great opportunity to wrap it up next weekend in Suzuka with what they can do here with Dylan Warren as well, who's sort of been their mainstay throughout the season as well. And Mirko Serrano coming in as well, doing amazingly in qualifying. Especially Q1 impressing me. Q2 and Q3 were sort of strategy errors between them. But I think they're going to be always strong in the race. Williams is looking strong as well, of course. And I think it's really this season we've been talking a lot about the TF10s and the Red Bulls, the Ferraris, the Williamses, with an outside of the McLarens and the TESs. So that's sort of been my sort of top lot at the moment this year.
Yeah, I think it's hard to call because I think every team at one point has had a good race. I think, as a thing, they've obviously got different drivers interchanging each week. We can still have drivers that are starting further back. We can still have teams that are a little bit further back in the championship, have their one hit wonder driver, get a good position. That looks good for the team. So I think, that's the thing. All the teams have had, I think, maybe bar FVR, I think they've all had a good result. So
I
obviously
agree.
we saw Andre, didn't we? Monaco had a decent result for that team in the qualifying session. But FVR, they've kind of just been stuck there at the back, which is a shame. I thought we'd see them score some more points. And I thought we'd see them a little bit higher in the standings than they are now. They're at the back. Obviously, last season they finished, I think it was 8th or 9th in the standings. This time they've only gone worse, which I think is a big hit for the team. Obviously, they did close and they reopened, but I'd say their drive, that they definitely haven't got the worst roster. They've got a decent roster. It's just the drivers under a bit more pressure. Maybe being in the PSGL series a bit different to some more of the laid-back championships that could also come into play. Or maybe it's just the fact that the 8 tracks that have been chosen, they don't like either of them. You don't know. So yeah, I'm hoping the last 2 rounds they can get something done, because I'd like to see FVR back up there. Obviously, I was part of the team a while back as engineer/manager, and yeah, it's a shame to see them kind of being stuck down at the bottom of the grid.
Did it all go left there, mate?
What?
Did it all go to pot after you left there?
Well, I'd like to. Well, I could say that, couldn't I? Well, I'm not
You
saying it's
could.
true. I could say that it always
Yourself
put when I
up.
left, but no, I don't think that's true at all. I'm definitely not the reason that the team closed.
Can I
And
just say, we've got 24 seconds. I've got a damaged chest at the moment, and I've only today regained the ability to breathe in fully.
oh,
I'm still very achy, but this GTO Mega chair, absolutely a miracle to sit in. That I
They
can
are.
just sit back, and honestly, most comfortable I've been in a long 48 hours. Basically, tensed up the other night and ripped a nerve, and it shot across my chest and all the way down the back. So not great, but I'm feeling better, so I'm here. And this chair, when I was laughing, it hurt, and then it's got a nice support right at the bottom, right where my back is hurting, and it's honestly helped so much. I wish I didn't have to leave this chair in the garage. I could bring it back into the house, because this is the commentary box, and I'm honestly thinking about just coming in here and sitting in the garage tomorrow.
Well, Josh, all I'm going to say is I think GT Omega will be hiring you as a personal sponsor.
I love this chair. I've never loved a chair more, and I know the channel's sponsored by it, but I've been saying on my own YouTube channel where they don't sponsor me, I still love it. It's one of the. I love the support. I love it, and honestly, I highly recommend getting one. Use the PSGL code 5% discount, but
Yes,
at
of
checkout,
course.
it's great. Honestly,
Yeah.
we're getting for the lights to go out though.
Indeed, and I was also having a little look at the chat before we get underway, and Thomas says, "Don't throw Vroom disrespect." Sorry, Simon, I forgot you're part of the team. Elliot says, "Rude Nathan, we got a better result than Vroom." Oh, so what? Are we having the FVRs and Vrooms fighting in chat? I haven't done anything intentionally to harm any of the 2 teams. And Lucas says, "I think Jan will win. He just ate a bit on us, so he should be good." Well, maybe he should. Maybe he could win. Peso, I want him to win. He was back in the first days of commentary for me. Peso, ADRT Peso as he was known back then. Obviously known as TSN Halliday, a little bit more professional indeed for his name. But we are going to get started very shortly. We can see the Blockhead fans in the top left of the stand, and I'd be very confused if I saw those fans in the stands, because they don't exactly look that human. Look a little bit like Minecraft characters here on the left, and the ones at the top look a little bit more humanoid. And obviously we've got the pit walls. No, before in the last game, we used to see them all T-posing outside the pit box, but this time, no, they're all hiding away with all the tyres. But we've got a dry start, so no rain at the start. Maybe there'll be rain at the end, I don't know. But for now, we know exactly it's not going to be a wet start, and so we've just got to wait now for that start time. We can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lights for the 6th round here of the PSGL E-Series Championship, and it is Max Wieslumpole who heads away first down towards that first corner. Ishmael Fassi also having a good run, but not the best run compared to Max in towards turn 1. We've also got Lukovsky trying to fight back towards Recent in the inside. Actually, he's going to be under pressure from Dylan Warren through in towards that first corner. They come side by side, and Ishmael Fassi takes the lead in towards turn number 2 ahead of Max Fassi. It was a bit of a poor start out of that first corner. He's going to try and find the tyre for them all, and we can see it's hard tyre for them all apart from Max and Joseph down in 11th and 15th. We can see someone further back going a little bit off track. We can see now, look, the wall going side by side through in towards turn 7, 8 and 9. Will Lewis looking to try and close in on the back of Yost Nordock. Got himself ahead of Paul Ecclemo. He's got himself ahead of Soriano. Max Ross pointer in towards the top 10, pushing Louis Welch a little bit wide as they head down towards turn 11 at the braking zone, and we'll see what can happen on the next part of this lap. As you can see, to send from Max up to the inside at turn 11, trying to get himself ahead, and Mirko does make that move work, and further back we've got people all over the circle, McLaren and Mercedes off the track.
Yeah, that's Jan and Conley Golo going off the track. Marco Serrano still under pressure with Max in the AlphaTauri side by side as they come into the braking zone for turn one. Nudin gets on the inside of the Monsky as well. It's four abreast further back. The two Mercedes, two McLarens coming in with Modesto Mena. The launch is getting in there. Fabulous start though from Ismail Fassi. He knew he had the loss of the advantage to begin with in the first phase, but regrouped it for a fantastic outside overtake into turn two. And Max Wissel didn't know what to do there as it's all going up. But I want to pick out Louis Welsh up to 11th place. Great start from him as well from further down the grid.
Indeed, but a very poor start from Chanakinchi down to 14th position. Was in that Q3, I think side 8th. He's now down to 14th, fighting with Lenny Pepinta for 13th position. Around the outside goes Lenny Pepinta. Can he make the move work? No, he has to go a little bit off circuit. Backs out of that move as they head down towards turn one. Do we see a move yet again from the Alpine? To the inside goes Lenny. The good run up towards turn one. He has the inside line, a better run. Obviously in towards that first corner. Can he make that position work? He will. Chancellor try and throw it around the outside into turn two. Tries to sit the car back up. Can do so. He's going to try and stick it back up the inside, but just runs out a little bit of room as they head through. So it will be that position back for Lenny Pepinta. Josie Floke as well. Obviously not getting that ideal start. Drop down towards that pack with the Mercedes and the McLarens earlier on, but he's got himself back through in towards 14th position. But further ahead, you can see Ishmael Fassi on a 6/10 lead over Max V. So now Reece Linton keeping that third, and also further back we can see Max Grosspoint looking for a move on Paul Eckelmeyer in towards turn 11. Throws it to the inside, gets the move done on those soft tyres, making it work quite well so far in this session. Josie Floke also making it ahead of Chanakinchi then in towards turn 11. So a decent start from those on the start, but Max I think making a great job. Obviously starting down in 12th, he's now in that top 8 and looking to get closer and closer to the likes of Will Lewis in 7th.
And they're going to go side by side to the braking zone. Kanakinche has the inside line, but brilliant around the outside for Joseph Loke. He'll get that position back. Jeremy now as well in the VRM in 16th position, trying to get through. Jan Halliday still down. The two TSs, really bad start. Halliday and Modesto Mena right down the order. Ismail Fassi, though, leads in the Williams by 6/10 of a second to Grandpa, of course, Max Wissel. And then we got Reece Linton, brilliant start to maintain third position. Dylan Warren's up to 4th place as well. And FVR right to the back with Conigolo and Elkes as well. They are now stuck. Mercedes having another really bad race once again. But as they come down, DRS enabled. There's a couple of overtakes down towards that first corner.
Yeah, we're not going to see much at the moment. I think we're in a bit of a dull stage at the moment. Everyone just been in that DRS train all the way down to, I think, yes, last. Everyone in that DRS train first, down to 20th as we come through. Will Lewis is the closest, I think, to anyone on track. He's right behind the back of Lekomsky for 6th position. Obviously having a decent start. Not ideal to be starting down in 9th, but he has got himself through in towards 7th. But Max is going to gain as they head down towards turn 11. You can see Max, she's about half his battery already at the start of this race. They head down in towards turn 11. You can see just heading into the braking zone further ahead. Lekomsky looking for a move on Nordite there as they went through, but just wasn't close enough to make a move ahead of the RHG. As we can see further back, nothing really much happening. Josie Floke just 5/10 back from Lenny Pepinta. We'll see if he tries to make a move for 14th to try and split the two race clutches who haven't really got off the line well. They're kind of stuck where they were. I think they qualified 11th and 13th. They're now sitting 12th and 13th as they exit through in towards the third lap of this race. But yeah, I think they're probably going to try and do a bit of a different strategy to try and get themselves ahead, because they're not going to make much from where they are at the moment, and I don't think they're going to fly much more forward than that. But Lekomsky is really on the back of Nordite, trying to force some mistakes for the RHG, but just can't make anything work just yet. Veloci, remember, are second in the championship. They got a 5-point gap to Race Clutch in third. At the moment, they're sitting 6th and 8th. Race Clutch is sitting 12th and 13th, so they're going to extend that gap at this rate to the Alpine lot, which is definitely not good for Alpine, considering at one point they were fighting with Ferrari for the championship. Remember, round one, they were both drawn on 53 points, so now, what's that, 70 points apart. It's just not going well at all for the team, but we can see Grosspointer ahead now of Will Lewis to pop himself into 7th. We'll see if his teammate lets him through. I wouldn't be surprised if Lekomsky just moves over on that next race as Josie Floke pops himself into 13th ahead of Lenny Pepinta. The Alpine race going to try and fight back. He can't really get much done, can he, there? He's going to just pull himself along with Joseph until head through and all a little bit wide there from Lenny. Brings Chanakinchi a little bit closer yet again, dropping through down to 15th now. Is the RHG. Not an ideal start at all, considering Williams are sitting 1st and 8th. They're sitting 5th and 15th, so a big point gap between the two. As Balance Elakash now gets a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, only on lap 4. So FVR's taking from bad to worse.
And add to that TES, they are running 17-18, then FVR 19-20. Meantime, Max is trying to look on the inside line, just putting the pressure on Ismail Fassi as Max goes up into 6th position, passing his teammate for VA. But yeah, this is looking better now. The field, as you say, in the DRS train, but they're all bar 2 drivers, Max and Joseph, starting on hard tyres. Everyone, those other 2 on softs, as you can see on your screen. So it's just a waiting game for the pit stops. It's like the old days, Richie, of me and you commentating F2, just waiting for everyone to hit the pit lane for the racing to begin.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is, isn't it? We've only got those 2 on the softs making moves. Everyone else is just kind of sticking in that train. But yeah, obviously we'll see the softs come into the pits. Not yet, of course, but it will be in probably the next 7 or 8 laps to pop themselves onto a set of mediums or hards. I don't know. I don't really see much racing around this circuit on this game, so I don't really know what the likely guitar is for them to switch on to. But the ones on the hards, I believe they'll go to a hard medium. Maybe ones a little bit further back could go for a bit of a very hard over, could go for a hard soft, but it just depends if those hards can hold on a little bit longer than the people who pitted earlier on the hards. As we can see, just heading through his max gross points, trying to make himself through into 5th position. Got a 4/10 gap to Joost Noordijk, 5/10 gap as they head through towards turn number 9. Obviously started down in 12th position now in the top 6, so I think he'll be going for a heavy undercut on those on the hard, so we'll just see if he can make that work. We know last time I went in Montreal, he went for a bit of a strange strategy, went onto the hards, took them all the way to the end. I think completed 22 laps on those hards by the time he crossed the finish line, and he was in 8th. Considering all the other people who did that strategy were quite far down the grid, so he made a great job of holding on to those tyres and managing those hard tyres a little bit longer. Further up, we can see Warren closing in on the back of Reese Linton in towards the braking zone, not close enough to make an overtaking towards turn 12, but you can see they're all jockeying for position, all moving out to that dirty air just to try and not give each other slipstream and try not to overtake. It's like what they're trying to do. Literally, no one wants to overtake. They're just staying behind. So that's what we see, isn't it? And it's like, as you said, Josh, on F122, this is what we saw every single race.
Just waiting and holding it back, nobody going for any different maneuvers, and everyone just going like, after you, no, after you. And it's like, give us some racing, it's what we're here to see, and we're not here to wait around on things.
Well, actually, Will Lewis could look for an overtake because he's gliding in very quickly on the back of Shumlakomsky, and Max Grosspoint has lost that DRS. I don't know if he's made a mistake. But still, Moore was looking for a position for 3rd. No, he didn't. I looked at him at the top of the hill and I thought he was going to make it, but no, he didn't. He'd stayed out for now. But coming through, we can see a bit of contact there. Will Lewis just tapping the back of the Veloce Academy car as they come through towards turn 2. Can he try and make a run in towards turn 3? No, he can't. Has to just stick behind for now and just trying to push Lukomsky through. Is Will Lewis, and just losing more and more time to the likes of Joost Noordijk. Here's Max Grosspoint, so that's putting Will Lewis and Mirko Soriano in a bit of a disadvantage because they can't really push forward and get themselves back into that DRS now. So maybe the 2 Veloces, maybe their job is just to try and hold back the likes of Will Lewis and also try and hold back the 2 race coaches who were fighting with them in the championship. In towards turn 11 they go.
Will's going to go for it. He's got a great slipstream.
He's got a bit more battery. He's going to have to use a bit of it, isn't he? Try and gain him back through. We can see now DRS, ERS slipstream enabled for Will Lewis. He's going to try and get himself ahead of Max. Lukomsky makes himself ahead of Max. We'll see. Is it an overtake for Will to take 6th place? No, he's not even staying 7th, isn't he?
Oh, I would have dive bombed. He was inside the slipstream. It would have been his position. It should have been a move there from Will Lewis. But he's got through on one of the AlphaTauris, so he's just going to get through the other one now of Lemonski as he comes through. Where would he do? Turn 1's opportunity as Lenny Papinta repasses Kanakinche. Kanakinche repasses. They're really in a battle, actually, as well, side by side through 16 and 17, as they were holding it backwards and forwards. And yeah, Joseph, they've got through, and there goes Lenny Papinta back to the inside line. Kanakinche having a small little twitch, and through he goes. So nice little double up there for Joseph Loke and Lenny Papinta. Jeremy's going to dive bomb on the inside to Kanakinche, back on Lenny Papinta. Richard, you take it.
Down towards 2 when they go, and you can see Jeremy. He's looking for a move on Lenny. He goes to the inside of the race clutch driver. He'll have a good run into turn 1, makes a move. He also goes for a move on Nakinchi in towards turn 1. Goes Jeremy, goes a bit deep. That will see a good switchback move from Lenny Papin to get himself back ahead of Chanakinchi. They head through towards turns 2 and 3, and we've got Jan Hade also right on the scene there in the TS as they fly through. But a great move there from Jeremy to pop himself into 14th. He's going to try and hook onto the back of Joseph Floke for that DRS, but Joseph's very close to losing it also to Sergio Sobrino. He's on the 8/10 back, so we'll have to see what Jeremy can do. Can he hold on to that DRS of Joseph? I think he will as they head down in towards turn 10, then in towards the braking zone at turn number 11. And yes, he has. Just hold on to that DRS. So a great opportunity there. Great advantage from Jeremy, just getting ahead of Lenny and Chandler with having a bit of a battle through to the final corner. And we can see further ahead, Will Lewis gaining in. He makes that position ahead of Lukomsky in towards turn number 12. He will pop himself into 6th position. Further back, we can see likes of that's Paul Eckelmeyer making a move on. Max Gross pointing to break zone, locks up, switch back there from the AlphaTauri, the VA. Goes Max into 8th position. We've got Mirko Soriano also ahead of the tier 10 of Paul Eckelmeyer, and then Louis Welch trying to gain in as well for this battle for 10th position. Bit of a lock up for Paul. That's going to also give him a bit more of a percentage of wear on his tyres.
The two TSs are side by side. Jan Halliday and Modesto Men have been battling since turn 12. But it's just all happening now on lap 7. Those on the soft tyres are starting to drop back through the field, and they're holding everybody else up. And Joseph Lowe gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That will be for going off the track. So the time to pit on the softs is now, as Reese Linton goes up to second. He's past Max. So Reese up to second place at the front of the field. And it's all going off for the front 5.
Yeah, great indeed move there for the Vroom driver. Max Fiesel trying to close in, can't make anything work. Obviously, he must have gone a little bit wide, must have down at the final corner. That allowed Reese to get a nice run down towards turn 1. The DRS kind of didn't really enable any advantage for Max because they kind of just counter each other. And we can see Dylan Warren, he's sitting in 4th comfortably, trying to get himself ahead of Max Fiesel. Obviously, these two, when Dylan's not in Ferrari, his teammates obviously easily with Max Fiesel over at tier 10. So I don't think these two will be too hard on each other at all in this race. And then Joost Noordijk also just sitting there. He's not really got involved with anything, hasn't he? Up 4th or upwards. He's just sitting there waiting for something to happen, waiting for maybe a mistake of a driver to try and give himself a bit of an advantage of the situations ahead as they head down towards turn number 12. You can see Max Gross pointing there, trying to gain in on the back of Mirko Soriano, who's got a 1.4 second gap to the leaders. So he has also lost crucial time. Obviously having that battle earlier on with Max and Paul down towards this section where they are now. You can see Paul's just sitting back 4/10 behind the back of Max, who's going to probably head into pits in the next 3 or 4 laps, I think, maximum on those. So as you can see, those softs starting to die off heavily. Joseph Loke sitting 13th. He's got a penalty. I believe that is 3 seconds, so that's not good at all for the SRT. See, Louis Welch as well, I've got to say, did a great start, didn't he? Started 14th, moved himself up to 11th on those hard tyres. I believe he moved himself up to 11th on that opening lap. He could look to get himself in 10th soon, as obviously Max will start to drop back more and more and more. So they head out the final quarter, begin lap 9 of 28, then towards turn 1. We've got Max Rosborg trying to make himself back ahead of Mirko Soriano. In towards the brakes at turn 1. Is he close enough to send a lunch? No, he's not, so he'll just sit back behind, use that DRS advantage as they head through in towards turn 11 in about 10-15 seconds time. They head through towards turns 2 and 3, and they're going to just sit where they are now, and Paul just slowly closing in for that battle. Further ahead, Reese Linton still in that 2nd place ahead of Max Fiesel, who unfortunately must have made a mistake, because you can see he's also dropped back to 7/10 from Reese, so he's just possibly losing a bit of pace there in that TF10. You can see Dylan Warren also closing in closely behind as they head down towards turn 11 at the braking zone.
Oh, look how much braking. Reese Linton's just getting so much into that braking on Ismail Fassi, but losing at the exit pace, so sacrificing a bit of time. And Dylan Warren's going to go for an attack on Max in the TF10. He'll look to the outside manoeuvre. It shouldn't really be that close into the braking zone once they get back into the picture. It wasn't, but Dylan knows where his butter is bred, as Kanakinche and Lenny Pipinta once again having a battle together. This time Kanakinche up to 15th place.
Yeah, Lenny Pipinta started 13th. He's now down to 16th position, so everything's just going worse for Lenny. Unfortunately, in this race, just hasn't got the pace, I think, to match many people. Unfortunately, here at Kota, so yeah, Alpine Race Coach not going to be very happy with that at all. But so just he's doing decent staying in P12. That's when he qualified, so he's not really going to be too angry with that. I don't think he's at least not lost positions in this race. I think now he's got to the point where Joseph's not going to be fighting him too hard. He's on those tyres that have probably started to die off. But further ahead, we can see that gap between Lukomsky and Will Lewis is over a second as they head down towards turn 1. So Shimon would like to get himself back into that 1 second if he can in towards turn 1. He's got that gap just to 9.5 of a second. Mirko Soriano also losing that 1 second as well. So that's the last thing they want. Being ace of that DRS, they lose lots of time on this circuit, especially because the DRS then towards turn 12 is very, very powerful. You can definitely lose 2 or 3 tenths down towards there because of that DRS advantage. Further ahead, we can see Linton, Russell Makovic, Malfazi. He's in a great position so far in this race. Probably got some of the best pace. He's clinging onto the back of the Williams very heavily. We'll see what his strategy does, but I think if he can play his strategy right, he could definitely be on one of those having a bit of a shoot for the win. This race would be great for Vroom. Obviously, as you know, sitting ninth in the standings on 57 points there. About I think at this point about 200 points back from Ferrari, about 180 points back, so they've really got to find something, and I think a victory or even a top 3 would definitely help them to try and close in and also try and break themselves away from FVR. As you can see, Reese takes the lead in towards turn 12 on that 10 of 28. Great overtake there from the room drive to pop himself onto that front spot. Further up, we can see Paul Lecombe making himself ahead of Max Grospointer. Max will have a bit of a switch back, bit of contact between them as they head in towards turn 13. No more switchback can be made there from, as you could see, Paul just parking it on the apex into the corner, going to go for a bit of send. Max has to back out. You can see those soft tyres starting to lose their mojo now in this race on lap 10. You can see Lenny Pinto defending from Jeremy. Jeremy gets himself ahead. They'll go side by side through. We also got Ian Halliday trying to make himself an overtake if he can do so. In towards turn 19, a little bit too far back for now is Ian Halliday, but I think Jeremy, after starting 20th, is also on a decent form.
So this is all kicking off now, isn't it? But unfortunately...
Oh, Jeremy! Oh, my.
No!
What a curse. What a curse. Oh, no.
I just saw the Haas at the back. He got tapped, didn't he, as well, from Lenny Pinto.
Yeah.
And round goes Jeremy to the back of the field.
Josh, I probably shouldn't speak, should I? I've just cursed him so badly. I feel so sorry for Jeremy now. He's 5 seconds back off the field, and all that work that he done has now been undone. He's going to be back at the rear of the field where he qualified.
Richie's curse of the commentator live. It's the American edition.
I think that's going to be the biggest curse I've ever made. I think that is the biggest curse I've ever made. 3 or 4 seconds after, he's on great form. Oh, and he's round at turn 1. Well, the exit turn 20.
Meanwhile, Ismail Fassi at the front has got DRS and he's pulled in Max and Dylan too. So Reese Linton's not going to have the lead for long. Ismail Fassi with the DRS to the inside line at turn 12. Reese takes the lead. Can Dylan find something on the inside line? No. Reese blocks him, but it's getting very feisty at the front between the top 3. Dylan's just backing off Richie. He's not giving himself any positions. Sergio Sabrino up to 11th, and Kanakinche now moving up the order as well.
Yeah, Chandra's trying to fight with Joseph. Look, Joseph Stall's going to try and stick his car through. Can't make anything work there, so he'll be down to 13th, 14th position, but he fights back. He gets the inside line through on Kanakinche. Chan's going to have the outside line, and great move there from Chan. It's got the inside line for Lenny Pinto to put himself through to 14th. Great move there from the race club. Choosing now starting to recover from that early loss of positions in this race. He's now got Kanakinche just ahead. Chan's not got DRS. I don't think heading down towards turn 1. We can see that's going to be Joseph and Max both in the pits there. Going to be done on their soft tyres, and also we've got Kanakinche on the hards, also in towards the pits. So a bit of a weird situation there for Kanakinche. Going to pick quite early on that undercut from the hard tyres. We can also see, is that anyone else in the bits? No, it's not. I think I thought we saw someone else, but no, it's not. It's just a penalty there for Valentino Kesha. We can see mediums for the bottom 3 now in this race, so we'll see what they can do on that. But I think it was quite early, wasn't it, for Chan to pit off those hards?
Maybe he knows something we don't as well. Maybe it's a risk. It's taking that long in the race, though. 14 laps for mediums. I'd rather have stayed with the hards a little bit longer. In fact, those are telling the softs. I don't know what you're thinking. It's a very hard, abrasive track, this, so we'll keep an eye out. We're on board with Dylan Warren, just looking at the moment, coming out of the back straight away. Ismail Fassi leads, Reese Linton second, Quentin Pars in third, that's Max Whistle, and we get Dylan Warren in 4th position. And look at this again, Reese Linton looking to the inside line, just breaking the toe down the back straight away. Fantastic what we're seeing from Vroom at the moment for the Haas.
Indeed, I think they're doing a great job, and Jan Halliday's moved himself up into 12th, so he's also making some improvements in this race. Started down in 17th, was down to 17th through the whole race, but now he's popped himself up into 12th, so he's doing a great job for the team. Just would be nice to see him in that top 10, but I don't know if that's going to be that possible for the Jan Halliday. As you can see, Kanakinche getting himself ahead of Max Grospointer down for 18th position. Obviously, they're technically the net leaders of the race, so Kanakinche technically is leading the race away from Max and Joseph. Obviously, we need to see more people pit, and obviously they're on an undercut, so they will probably lose time near the end of that race. Obviously, on their tyres being a little bit older than the others ahead. As we can see, heading into the pits was, I think, Louis Welch, so he's heading off his hard tyres. He thinks they are done and dusted, so he'll go to a set of medium tyres to take them to the end of this race. We can see further ahead, Reese Linton still sitting behind the back of Ishmael Fassi. They're not close to going into pits, I don't think, at all. So we'll see once they decide to make that decision. But I think, we'll probably see we'll see every lap now, maybe 1 or 2 people just pill into the pits before we see a whole group of them go into the pits in probably 3 or 4 laps time. We see that happen, don't we, Josh? We see 1 or 2, and then all of a sudden we see about 10 go into the pits altogether.
And everyone's like, whoa, what do we do here?
Yep. And if it was IRL, I think we'd see quite a few incidents, wouldn't we?
I think we had that in a wet race at Kota back in 2015. Everyone dived into the pit lane, and Danny Kvyat literally hit the wall.
Did he?
A Spa. Yeah, Danny Kvyat hit the wall back here in 2015. But in Spa, that was where the sprint race in Spa this year, we had that. As soon as we went green flag running after the rolling start, everyone came in and changed tyres on that opening lap. And it led to Piastri leading the race.
Oh.
You were in the commentary box. You should remember that.
Well, there's a lot of things I've been to sleep since and I probably forgot completely. I'm very tired as well at this point, and well, with this race going on, I'm getting mixed up with esports and IRL. So maybe in 2 hours, ask me, and I'll probably remember that. I'll probably remember at the moment. No, I don't have a clue at all. But we can see a little bit further back, we got similar comps going to losing that 1 second yet again to Will Lewis. So he's just on that cusp of the DRS. As I think we can see Will Lewis heading to the pit, so he'll be done on those hard tyres. Gets a 5-second penalty. Big shame for Will Lewis now in this race with a 5-second penalty. Mirko Soriano also entering the pits alongside him, so we'll see where that brings them out in this race. But that has probably much ruined any chance of a decent position, I think, for Will Lewis in this race. What it could have been for Will. Unfortunately, going to probably end up suffering a lot from that penalty. Chanakinchi takes the fastest lap on lap 14.28. We've hit the halfway point now of this 50% race. Jeremy moves up into 14th. Has to be still in this race. We'll see whereabouts people come out. We can see Mirko Soriano comes out 20th, just behind the back of Max Grospointer. Further up, we can see Will Lewis has come out in P15. He's got himself ahead. Even though he's on that overcut, he's made himself work over those on the 2/1 lap old medium. So great job there from Will Lewis in this race. So they head through. You can see Willie's already pushing the back of Jeremy Gallanier through in towards turn 9. He needs to get through quickly, otherwise Chanakinchi will be right on the scene, try and get himself a position ahead of the Williams.
Lead change at the front. Reese Linton retakes it on the inside line, getting ahead of Ismail Fassi into turn 12. So they have switched over. Sergio Sobrino passes Paul Eckenheimer as well into 8th, and Jan Halliday passes Lenny Papinta into 9th.
Yeah, and we can see as well now we've got Jeremy under pressure from Chanakinchi. Chan's going to move to the inside line in towards the break zone at turn 12. I think Chan will get himself ahead. Yes, he will easily in towards the break zone. Go Chanakinchi. Jeremy's going to try and fight it back around the outside. Can't do much at all. Now we've got Louis Welch trying to put himself through on the Haas as they head down in towards turn 14. Great manoeuvre there from the SRT. Then we've got further back Jesse Float trying to make himself through on Jeremy's. The top three all going to the pits. That's Reese, Ishmael and Max V. So we've got some Lukomsky also into the pits winning that. Dylan Warren takes the lead of the race now on lap 15 of 28 ahead of Jonas Nordyke and Sergio Sobrino, who moves himself up into third. And we'll see whereabouts Will Lewis comes out compared to those guys that have just pitted.
You're right, they're all coming in straight away, medium compound tyres. So Louis taking a 134. So Louis, I believe, is going to jump them. It's so close to the pit exit. We're going to be in for a very, very messy turn number 1. There's Will Lewis. Reese Linton gets out just ahead of him, but he's on softer and colder tyres. Will Lewis should be able to deal with him quite easily. He's trying to go through on the Mickey Mouse section as well. He can't. It's bedlam right behind this lot as well. But Will Lewis desperately trying to get through. But how unlucky is he with that 3-second time penalty still to serve? He's come out right in front of the race leader.
Indeed, yeah. So I think it's very good for Will in the position he's in, because he did a bit.
Let's go for it. Will's on the inside, he's taken the net lead, but he's running too deep. That's going to allow Ismail Fassi to come in and have a go. And now we'll have a slipstream run down towards turn 12. Will Lewis on the outside, he's got the net lead. Reese Linton, and here comes Ismail Fassi. This is for the net lead of the race. Will Lewis is helping out his teammate here, helping out the Williams team, and he's taken the lead. At the inside goes the Haas of Reese Linton, forces out Will Lewis, but Ismail Fassi leads. Williams net 1-2 at the moment, but Reese, of course, will be fuming, but consolation, he has got second place on the road at the moment.
Indeed, but it's a great move there from Will Lewis, working well with his teammates. We'll see what they'll say can do in this race. Maybe Will could try and back up Reese a little bit more, give Ishmael Fassi a bit more of a breathing space for the rest of this race. They've got 12 laps left to go. Jan Halliday enters the pit lane now after 16 laps on those hards. We'll see what Will chooses to do. Will he defend in towards someone? I'm sure he will defend off the back of Reese Linton. As we can see as well, West Ham staying 8th and 7th. Both the FBRs moving up as now we can see battery being burnt from Reese Linton to the inside. Will is going to try and hook it around the outside. He's going to try and make that work. He can't do much there. Has to try and get it back to the inside. Get a bit of a switchback manoeuvre on the VRM as they go through. No, he can't. So it is still Reese Linton now back into second, getting himself back ahead of Will Lewis, who probably didn't want to let that position go too lightly in this race as they head through now in towards the middle part of this first sector. And you can see, well, Lewis just trying to follow through on Reese Linton. Max Wiesel sitting there in net 4th position. Obviously, we'll take that net 3rd, obviously, because of the penalty for Will Lewis, who's going to lose 5 seconds after his race time.
Ooh,
We can
that's
see further
late.
back. That was a bit of a move from someone, wasn't it? That was Will Ishmael Fassi,
Fassi.
sorry, ahead of Balintelecash, who's now going to be a bit of a stand-in chicane, a bit of a moving chicane, as well, the car's going to have to try and file their way through. You can see Reese Linton will be next to try and make himself ahead of the FVR. Till the inside goes Balint, going to try and... I don't know why he's going to defend it. He's going to try and defend it. We can see Coldon and Gullo also get involved down the braking zone. Reese Linton going to have to go around the outside in towards turn 13. Reese Linton ahead of Balintelecash for 9th position, and that I think was a bit of unnecessary holding up, because I don't know why they're all holding each other up, because realistically it's not like Coldon and Modesto are really fighting position with Reese Linton. Reese going to have to try and go to the outside, can't make much work there. Coldon's going to defend hard for pretty much no reason in this race.
Is Dylan into the pits? Because no, so Dylan stayed out. Dylan stays out for Ferrari, but into the pits comes Nordic, Sabrino, Alcamara as well. Lenny Papinta stays out. Ismail Fassi, the fastest man on the track right now, 1:33.986. Really flying out there in the Williams.
Indeed, we can see that gap to Reese's 1.8 seconds from Ismail Fassi. So this has worked heavily for Ismail Fassi. Now he's got a 2-second gap to Reese, and that's what he wanted, because that gap's going to struggle to come down now, because you know, you can't really bring that gap down by 9/10 when you've got no DRS. Max Wiesel, he's 3/10 back from Reese Linton in this race, so I think could be going the way of Ishmael Fassi for victory, depending on what happens next. He's got a 6/10 gap to Lenny Papinta, who's in 2nd currently. Obviously, he needs to still pit in this race, and Lenny Papinta's fighting for nothing, is he? It's been a bit of a shameful race for Lenny in the race clutch. Obviously, sitting 3rd in the championship, they're going to be, well, I don't think they'll be fighting for much at all in this race, unfortunately.
Ismail's going to pass him with absolute ease down the back straight away. And now Dylan's got to pit this lap. To stand any chance, he has to pit this lap. Why they've left him out there so long, I don't know, because it was the wrong decision. They need to box him now. Ferrari are throwing away their own strategy at the moment.
I think he's just gone for a mega overcut. He can work. We've seen it work many times before. And if it is one person that can make an overcut work, it is definitely Dylan Warren, because he's great.
This is a safety car. Not at the moment.
Well, it could be possible, Brodek. We will see one, as we can see. Jan Halliday making himself ahead of Jeremy Gallinier down towards turn number 13. And we've got Vanessa Minner, he's a little bit further back.
Dylan's in. So Ismail Fassi will take the lead of the race. And now let's just see what Dylan can do in the remaining 10 laps of this race.
Along with Lenny Papinta, who's also into the pits, but he's a little bit further back, isn't he, from Dylan Warren indeed. So Ishmael Fassi now, the leader of the race officially on the circuit. Max Wiesel in 2nd ahead of Reese Linton in 3rd. Reese is going to try and fight back into turn 1, but I don't think he's going to fight too much for that position, because he knows he just wants to keep that DRS, keep himself without losing more time to Ishmael Fassi. As we can see, Will Lewis sitting in 4th, obviously, unfortunately, with that penalty. But Louis Welch is in 5th. He's made a great job in this race. Started 14th. He's now in the top 5. So he's really doing a good job. But he's got the likes of Shimon, Joost, Dylan, Paulo will be gaining him very quickly on the likes of Louis, Chan and Josie, so we'll just have to see how their defending can work. But I think if they can defend it more than enough, Louis actually could be on for a great result for the SRT, considering they started 14th and 15th. So they are going to make something work, I think, in this race, as Jeremy, unfortunately, gets a 3-second time penalty.
Jeez, stop talking about him.
I'll do. It's going worse and worse for Jeremy.
Oh, Jeremy, I feel so sorry for you. You were on for a great race, and it was going so well, and Richie cursed you.
Yeah, but that is my job, isn't it? People have told me that in many leagues, as Balintelecash gets another 3-second penalty, so 6 seconds to be added to his time. As we can see, Sergio Sabrina making himself ahead of Paul Eckelmeyer in towards turn 12. Jan Halliday looking to try and make something work. He's closing very quickly on the back of the TF10 as they head through towards the end of this final sector. Or as they head in towards the final sector, indeed. We can see Chanakinchi as well starting to lose that 1-second gap to Louis Welch. That is not ideal at all. That puts Lukomsky into a great position to pass the RHG as soon as possible.
To reiterate, Dylan Warren in P12 at the moment, who was leading this race. He's on 6-lap pole to 3-lap pole, faster tyres. And Max, yellow flag, sector 3. Jeremy's out. Is Jeremy off the track? We've got a yellow, and it's permanent.
Yep. He's collected it.
Yep, he's got it. So he's just had a little spin. So Jeremy right to the back.
Yeah, big show for Jeremy.
Yeah.
Well, it would have definitely spiced it up a bit, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think if we had a safety car, then it'd be helpful for people like Dylan Warren, who's only just pitted. They could easily set those to the end, but you know, it would be quite issue. It would be an issue, wouldn't it, for lots of Chan and Joseph and Louis? They'll probably have to pit But yes, I don't think we'll get a safety car now. Louis Welch gets a 3. Every time I speak about a driver, they get a penalty or a spin. So Louis Welch now with a 3-second penalty in this race. Oh, I need to stop talking, don't I?
Kind of out of a job if you do.
To be fair, all I'm going to say is I'll be very good at rigging matches, wouldn't I? In betting.
Oh,
He's got a 3-wide move. This is Mirko Soriano trying to get himself ahead of Joseph Floke in towards turns one. That one caught me off guard. They're going 3-wide in towards the braking zone. It's going to be Mirko to the inside. Joseph losing that position now. We've got Mirko trying to get himself ahead of Joost Noordijk, but Joseph's going to try and hook it around the outside at turn 13. Couldn't do so. The two RHGs working well together. Bit of teamwork like what we saw with the two Williamses. There's
oh, contact! And
that's a bit of
gonna allow
contact.
Mirko back on the inside, yeah. Kanakinche brake tested. Mirko coming through turn 14, and then now look at that, they're still side by side.
Contact.
Kanakinche under pressure, and there's more contact. Off goes Joseph Floke.
Yeah, now that could have ended in a lot more tears than it did through there. That's a very high speed section to be sent off circuit. Oh, bit of a tap from Joseph on the back of Chanakinchi. Now that gives Dylan an opportunity. Gets past Joseph Floke. Now he's got to try and get himself past Chanakinchi in towards turn one. He's going to have a great run, isn't he? To the outside line goes Jerome Warren. He's got better tyres by 6 laps to Chanakinchi. Round the outside. Great move from the Ferrari.
Yes, Dylan, that was spectacular. That was brilliant. Even a little bit of contact at the exit of turn one. That was spectacular teamwork from the two Ferraris. And the two RJGs tried their best, but they couldn't stop it. That was superb. Absolutely brilliant. Now, is Mirko going to let Dylan through on much fresher tyres, or is Dylan just going to pass him?
We'll see what they do. I think there'll be more of an opportunity down that straight for Dylan just to pop himself up the inside of his teammate. Because obviously I don't think Mirko's going to hold it up too much. Obviously with Dylan being on those way better tyres by 4 laps. Those medium tyres are better for Dylan Moore. As you can see, Max Wiesel takes that second position away from Reese Linton further up the field. And there we are. Keep set fourth as
Louis Welch.
Yep, Lekomsky gets himself that 5th. And then that's Joost Noordijk looking for a bit of a lunge as well on Louis Welch. Louis' strategy started to go into the bin a little bit, isn't it, in this race? He's now got Dylan Warren only 1.2 seconds back as they come through towards turns 14 and 15. Noordijk now closing in on the back of Lekomsky. Gets himself ahead of Lekomsky at turn 15. Great move there from the RHG driver. Now Lekomsky's going to start dropping down himself. He's got 5-lap-old tyres. He's got Dylan Warren closing in. He's got Louis Welch, who's probably going to start dropping back because his tyres are a little bit older than the likes of Lekomsky's. But further back, they're just not eating into that time of Ismail Fazi whatsoever. Ismail Fazi, I think, is on course for victory unless he makes a mistake in these next 7 laps. I've said that he probably will make a mistake because I'm going to curse him heavily. So Williams is going to be very angry for me if that happens. Reese Linton to the inside as the back 8 doesn't bother making that overtake on Max Wiesel for that second position. Further back, we can see Lekomsky now just sitting behind. Not making a move just yet on the RHG, but he's actually going to start closing in quickly, isn't he, on the back of Will Lewis, who's got 3-lap older tyres than Joost Noordijk. We got further back Dylan Warren trying to get himself ahead of Louis Welch. Going to start being held up if he doesn't get through on the next straight. Probably down towards turn 12 is where he's going to get through, unless he can make a move down towards turn 11 because he's got a lot more grip, hasn't he, in that Ferrari with those 4-lap better tyres. He will go to the inside using a bit of battery. Nothing Louis Welch can do there at all, is there?
No, can't find it.
No defence at all from the SRT. No defence going to be made. So, Dylan Warren now into 7th position. Remember, started this race in 4th. He was running for 4th/5th for a long time in this race. He's now going to be looking to try and close in even further. He's got a 7/10 gap to the back of Szymon Lekomsky, but Louis Welch has got some DRS. Does he try and send a move to the inside at turn 12? No, he sits back for now, so he knows that move is not on at all. So Dylan Warren's got a great chance now to try and get himself possibly into the top 4 in this race.
He must be going for podium as well. Well,
possible,
he
isn't
needs
it?
to get ahead. Yeah, because Will's got a penalty, so I don't think Reese is going to give it up that much. And he's in a battle with Max. But Ismail Fassi, 2.6 seconds up the road. I mean, this is what we know he can do, and he's taking it off once again in that Williams.
He's in a Kinch, he's just losing more positions, isn't he, Chan? Down to 12th, maybe. I'm starting to think that early undercut was just a bit too early, wasn't it, for Chan? Because he's going to lose a position to Sabrino as well, who will move himself up into 12th in this race. Because he's got 5-lap older tyres. There's nothing he can do against the race clutch of Sergio Sabrino. To the inside goes Sergio Sabrino. Also, through goes Dylan Warren into 6th position ahead of Lekomsky, who now gets demoted to 7th in this race. So a great job so far from Dylan Warren. He's got a 1.7 second gap to Joost Noordijk. And then we also got Joseph Floke fighting with Sergio Sabrino for 11th position. Round the outside goes Sabrino through and towards turns 2 and 3. He has the inside in towards the SE section. They go side by side through the SE section. Who will come ahead? Will it be Sabrino? Will it be Loken? Just about Joseph Floke keeps that position ahead of the race clutch. But now Sergio's going to be keen to get through. He's going to lose time. He's losing a lot of time, isn't he? To Paul Eckelmeyer. He's got a 1.0 second gap to Joseph Floke. So no DRS. Is it going to be for Joseph now?
So Jones is really in trouble on this little slipstream battle as they come into it. Look at the braking zone now, and watch at the back, Jan Halliday, who's just going to capitalise on getting multiple DRS runs into that braking zone as well. This is looking really strong. Can Sergio Sabrina do anything as we see Halliday passing as well? Halliday goes through. Meantime, around the outside line comes Sergio Sabrina and Joseph Loke, and again, Jan Halliday passes Kanakinche.
Great move there from Sergio, prop himself into 11th position now, right behind the back of Mirko Soriano. These two were championship protagonists at one point. I don't think that's quite the case now, but Sergio, he's on a better situation with tyres than Mirko, so he would probably be able to get himself through, but it's about if Mirko can defend it well, and if that, you know, that tyre offset is big enough of an advantage for Sergio in the next 6 laps. But further ahead, that gap to Max Wiesel and Ishmael Fassi just going up and up. It's now 2.8. Reese Linton to the inside of Max Wiesel in towards turn 1, moves out the way of that slipstream. Will Lewis comfortably sitting behind him in 4th, and that holding up from Will, I think, is what helped Ishmael Fassi to have such a large gap now too. Ishmael Fassi, like we said before, once you break that 1 second gap, the gap keeps going up and up and up and up as the race goes on, and eventually there's no way you can catch. And at this point, unless Ishmael makes a mistake, yeah, there's nothing being made for Max Wiesel, I don't think, in this race. But it will still be a P2/P3 or even P4, which is something that TF10 need to see. Anything in the championship, they need some good points.
And they're going to get it here today as well. But Reese is all over the back, isn't he, for VRM? And Vroom is just brilliantly doing their job here today.
Well, one part of Vroom's done a brilliant job. Unfortunately, Jeremy's 18 seconds back from Balintelecash, so I don't think we'll see much of him, unfortunately, in the rest of this race. I cursed him, didn't I?
Whose fault was that? Yeah, your fault.
Didn't he get, was it a tap he got from Lenny, I think, wasn't it, in towards the final corner?
Yeah. Then he had another run coming out the last corner.
Turn 17, yeah.
Yeah.
And from then, it just ruined your confidence. Joseph starts moving down, is he? No, he just lost a couple of positions into the breakers. I thought for a second he had a bit of a spin. Colton Ngolo ahead of Modesto Mino into 16th as he heads in towards the break zone at turn.
Oh, Joseph's going to try and fight back, and that's going to be contact. Whoa, Joseph is really fighting back with Kanakinche. Kanakinche's got the inside line and says, get off him. Big elbows out. Good move.
Yep, tries to make a move, but yeah, nothing Joseph can do there from Chanakinchi as they head through towards turn number 17. Further up, we can see Jos Nornak getting in on the back of Will Lewis now. They head down towards turn 1. Is it an opportunity for Jos to get himself into 4th? He's not quite got the run down towards turn 1. We can see, yet again, Reese Linton moving outside that DRS in towards, we're moving out that slipstream side from Max then towards that first corner. And further back, we can see likes of Louis Welch trying to get himself ahead of Lukomsky yet again, just sticking behind with that DRS, of course. Lukomsky's just lost a lot of time. He's not going to catch back onto that top 6 train. All he got completely left in the dirt by Dylan Moran earlier on, who's now sitting right behind the back of this pack. Can he make any moves in this race? I don't know if he can make much more than this because, you know, he's closing in, but he's got Yosolok, who's only 1 lap older tyre ahead. I don't think that's too much of an advantage for Dylan, is it?
Going to be very close to it, isn't it, at the ending as they come into the braking zone. Oh, and Jeremy gets another penalty. 3 seconds added on to his time as well, further than the penalties he's already got. Now, watch Reese. He's going to have the DRS. Max is going to have to go under pressure here. That's Grandpa in P2. Look at Ismail Fassi, 3 seconds ahead at the front. Dylan Warren were riding with his covers down. This is just literally a follow me leader tow as up the inside. Nordic makes the move on Will Lewis for 4th position.
Yeah, great move there from the Irish. Obviously, Will would have lost that position anyway due to the penalty.
Yeah, penalty.
But we'll see now. Can Dylan Warren make a send? Yes, he does in towards turn 14. Easy send there from Dylan Warren. Puts himself into 5th, but Will's going to try and fight about on the outside through in towards turn 16. And no, we can't do anything about it. Dylan Warren keeps that 5th position. Now, the next person down for Dylan is Jos Nordyke, who's only got that 1 lap older tyre, remember, than that's to Dylan Warren. But I think Dylan's best position in this race could possibly be a P2.
It's pushing it, isn't it? It's not that many laps remaining, 25 or 28. 4 to go. They'll start pushing it. 5, 6, 7, 8. Count the lap we're on, remember. And look at this. Look on the inside line again. Reese Linton can't find the opportunity to dive bomb, but they're all just staying together. They're keeping their time exactly how they need to find it as they slipstream backwards and forwards.
Yep, and Akinci getting in yet again on Jan Halliday, who's made some recoveries in this race. He was, where was he? Down in P17 earlier on. He's now up in that top 12, so he's recovering slightly for the TES. They're going to get them at least some points on the board here in this race. We can see Sabrino getting in on the back of Mirko Soriano. He's going to try and get himself into that top 10. Will be great for Sabrino. His teammate Lenny Pepinta's just the race just hasn't gone well at all. He's standing 18th. He's Not going to really gain any much on Modesto Mendes, so very shameful, is it, for Lenny? He's a driver I expect to see doing well. As we can see further up, we can see fights everywhere. We can see, and that's Reese Linton taking second. We got Dylan Warren trying to make the 3-1 in towards turn 11. They go, and it will be Dylan Warren who takes second. Matt says to go round the outside. They go 3-1 in towards turn 13. We can see Yost right now trying to make a move round the outside, but Dylan Warren, perfect move there to move himself ahead. But Yosti's going to try and fight it back up the inside. It's back to the inside for Dylan in towards turn 15, who gets that move covered off. Great there from Warren. It was 3-1 in towards the break zone at turn 12. And now Dylan Warren's going to have to try and get himself ahead of Max Wiesel. But once he does that, he can just stick behind kind of the back of Reese Linton until that final opportunity for overtaking at turn 12.
Reese now is going to put himself a bit more under pressure because he had to take that second position. So not because Max made the error with the DRS. So now it's all to play for as we come down. He's already pulled out, what is it, about 0.6 of a second. Dylan Warren's not going to wait for it though towards turn 1. He thinks about a move, but decides to settle in. He knows where the best opportunities to overtake on this track are.
Indeed, so he's going to wait now even more. If he can overtake Max soon, that would be key. Then he can eye up Reese Linton, wait for that final lap down towards turn 12, then make a send. He's then got the move cut off. There's no more opportunities for Reese to try and fight himself back through. So we'll just see what that strategy is from Dylan Warren. He's just coming through. It's turn 9 and 10 now. But you can see a lot more pace in that car with those tyres compared to Max Wiesel. He's going to make a send in towards turn 11. I don't think he will. You have to make it towards turn 12, won't he?
Better idea to turn 12 because you get the DRS to activate it as well. If you go here, you lose out. Kanakinche, 3-second time penalty to be added to his time. Here comes Dylan Warren once again. This should be easy to get through on Max Wiesel.
Down towards turn 12, no moves being made. We can see we'll lose ahead of Yost Nordijk. Max Wiesel doesn't make a late lunge in towards turn 12 ahead of Reese Linton. Dylan Warren now on the scene. Can he make an overtake? No, he can't. He sticks behind for now. But a great overtake there from Max Wiesel. He's going to leave the train away towards the penultimate lap as now. Dylan Warren makes a send in towards turn 14 ahead of Reese Linton. Reese going to try and hold back around the outside. They come through in towards turn 16. Inside line for Reese. Outside line for Dylan Warren. Who's going to make this work? It will be the inside at turn 19 for Dylan. And I think Reese has got a good run in towards the next corner. It's going to be side by side still. Bit of a tap. Bit wide for Dylan, and Reese keeps the position in towards the final corner. Great defence there from the Vroom driver. We head down now towards turn 1 again. Lap 27 to 28. Ishmael Fassi leads by 3.5 seconds nearly in this race. Dylan Warren gaining to the inside. Can he make that move on Reese Linton? Yes, he will. Into turn 1. So Reese now demoted down to 4th position. Big shame for Reese, but he's still got one lap to try and fight it back from Dylan and Max.
That was really great, smart driving from Reese. He knew that he could hold him around the outside of 19. He'll get the drive out of 20, but Dylan had the DRS on the run uphill towards turn 1. Max Wiesel came out of nowhere down in turn 12, launched up the inside. Reese locked up. Dylan locked up a little bit as well, but Dylan's got much fresher tyres compared to these guys at the front, so he can now go for it. Max is going to be very much under pressure to even stay on the podium as we come down again down to turn 12. Now the DRS activated once again. Dylan's going to make short work of this.
He will. So Dylan Warren has the inside line on Max Wiesel. Makes an easy overtake now. Reese Linton also looking to get himself back into third. Does he try and take second in towards turn 12? He will. To the inside goes Reese Linton. He backs out at the last second. Max goes to the right-hand side. Can't make any move done. So it will be Reese Linton back into the top 3. Mirko Soriano making the move. That's Paul Eckelmeyer, sorry, dropping down 2 positions. He'll drop down to 11th position, so it'll be Sergio Spinner in the top 10. Mirko in the top 9. But further back, we can see Max Wiesel. Is he going for a move? No, he's not there. I think he went for a bit of an outside dummy, but couldn't make it work. So he's going to be stuffing behind the back of Reese Linton now. We're coming through onto the final lap of this race very shortly. It will be Ismail Fassi. We haven't seen for many laps. He's got a 3-second gap going on to the final lap of this race. And we've got Dylan Warren fending off the back of Reese Linton and Max Wiesel and Will Lewis. All in that battle. Yost Nordijk, unfortunately, lose out to that 1 second train, so he won't have much to fight for in this race now on the final lap. But it's all to play for between 2nd, 3rd and 4th.
It's going to be very close. Ismail Fassi's got this one done. He's got to make it round another 3.4 miles. But now, Will Lewis, he's out of it. He's got that 3-second time penalty. He's going to lose out on 5th position as well to Nordic. So watch out. Dylan, I think, has got this one secured. So really, it's Reese versus Max for the final podium position. But it's so tight. One small mistake, one small lockup could cost you. And that Ferrari of Dylan Warren now started to look a bit vulnerable. Reese is using all of his battery power. So is Max Wiesel. They want that podium spot. And this is coming to the last DRS zone.
They do, and they will look at battery. So no battery for Dylan Warren. About 20% for Max and for Reese. So this will be now all battery being used for Reese. Can he take the position to the outside? He's going to have to try and push it. He's got a lot more over speed than Dylan Warren. To the outside goes Reese. And can he take that P2? You have to defend it round the outside. inside. Dylan's going to try and make a send. Can't do so. No defence at all from Dylan Warren. It's going to be Reese Linton who takes second position away from Dylan Warren. The final lap of this race. Dylan's going to try and fight back. Max Wiesel also looking to try and make a move, but I don't think he can do so at all. But what a great move there from Reese. Will Dylan send a move? No, he can't. I think that is it all done for Dylan Warren.
Dylan's going to have an attempt though, as Ismail Fassi's going to cross the line. We'll see him in just a second, but Reese is going to have to really push him 19 and 20. There's a brief shot as they come into it, into the last corner. It's Ismail Fassi who takes the checkered flag. He wins here at the United States Grand Prix. Fantastic job. It's the fight for second across the line, and Reese Linton amazingly does it.
What a move there. Great opportunity for Reese. I thought at one point he's going to be out of it. He had older tyres than Dylan. I thought Dylan's got this covered, but no. Dylan had hardly any battery at the end. Reese had about 20% more. That's what gave him that advantage. That's what helped him make that charge down towards turn 11. Max Wiesel finishes in 4th position, just behind those. So then we have Joost like in the top 5, Simlakomsky in 6th position. Will Lewis in 7th. Sergio Sabrina makes a great recovery to finish in 8th ahead of Marcus Riano in 9th. And Louis Welch does finish inside the top 10. Then we have Paul Eckermeyer in 11th. Jan Halliday and Vanessa Domain of the 2 TSs making some great positions. Ace finished 12th and 13th. Kodon Ingurlo 14th position. Joseph Loke unfortunately not making anything work. He finishes in 15th. Lenny Papinta 16th. Chanikinchi 17th. Max Crosspointer in 18th. Bernd Telekeshi in 19th. And unfortunately Jeremy Galenia will finish the race in 20th where he started. But it was an eventful ending, wasn't it, that, Josh? The 3 of them fighting for second. It could have been any of them, couldn't it? But it will be Reese Linton for Vroom, who will take it. Their first podium of the season. Their first, I think, maybe one of their first top 10s of the season.
Really well done. Solid drive. I think my driver of the day, definitely. And what a drive as well from Ismail Fassi. Top 3, top 4, deserved it massively. Brilliant, brilliant race here at COTA. And I'll leave you for the interviews as well.
It was, and hopefully we can get an interview from any of those in the top 3 shortly. But yeah, it was a brilliant result, wasn't it? From the top 3, Williams taking their first victory this season. Reese Linton taking his first podium and also the first podium for Vroom this season. Also Dylan Warren yet again taking another podium for Ferrari. Max Wiesel 4th. It's a decent result for the TF10 team. Then we can see further back, obviously TES made some good positions in that race, but obviously they got SRT ahead. I think that gap will be a little bit closer still because obviously Louis Welch finished in 10th. Joseph finished 15th, so that gap between TS and SRT I think will still be quite similar going in towards the next round at Suzuka. But Sergio Sabino as well, making some great positions. Started 11th, finished in 8th. But Lenny Papinta, I don't know what happened. He started 13th, he finished 16th. That's one driver I did not expect to see losing positions. If anything, Lenny would be one of those I thought would be a bit of an underdog. Started a little bit further back, moved himself into that top 6, top 7, but unfortunately nothing he could do. Could have been a bit of a lack of setup maybe, or just have himself settled into the track. But also Chanakinchi started 9th, finished 17th. I'm not sure what happened to his race, which still went downhill as the race went on. And Max Grosspunter as well was hoping for a good position for him in this race, and unfortunately 18th for him. But it started off a bit dull, but it worked its way to the end. It was a brilliant final few laps. And hopefully we can get an interview from the top 3. We'll see if we can shortly. But as well, just to confirm, it was Vroom's first top 10. Their best position before was a P11 back in Monaco. They will now finish in 2nd here in
What a performance.
COTA. Let's see if we can get an interview from anyone. Yeah. We're going to pop to the interview screen shortly. We'll let's pop it over there. We can see the interview screen.
In the waiting room.
Got Dylan Warren there as usual. We'll need to see Dylan. We'll drag him up shortly. Also want to see if we can get Reese and who's the other one again now? I forgot Ishmael Fassi. I should have remembered that, shouldn't I?
It's been a long night. I'll leave you for the interviews then.
No worries indeed. Right, so we'll get Dylan Warren in. First of all, Dylan, welcome in.
Hello, mate.
So, obviously, going into that final lap, was it due to the fact you had a little less battery is why you lost the position?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably it, I think. Yeah. Regardless of the gap I pulled, even if I pulled 8 temps, 9 temps, he still would have been alongside into the braking, so and even if... Yeah, sorry.
Is there any reason why you didn't save it towards the end, or was it the fact you just wanted to try and gain as quick as you can, and then because you gained so much, you then just had nothing to use?
I mean, I think if I didn't, even if I stayed at the same battery, if I sat behind Max or whoever was P3 at the time, I would have probably ended up being P4. So then again, it wasn't. I had to leave a lot on the table with 2 warnings since I had to react to Joseph hitting. I think it was a Kinchi.
So. Yeah, I don't know who it was. There was that much going on in that race anyway. But still, it's the podium yet again, and I think going into the final race, I think you'll have the championship next race, won't you? Because you've got more than enough gap. I think you got 80 points, I think.
Yeah, well, it depends on the drivers racing next week. But then
Yeah.
again, I think if we literally don't lose points, we win. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, especially with how bad everyone else's race was, with Veloce in like 18th and
Yeah.
Race Clutch in what 16th,
Yeah.
and then I don't know.
Yeah, many drivers they didn't have the best races at all, but still Mirko as well finished. I think was in ninth, but obviously I think he picked a bit too early, and that obviously
Hang
lost
on,
him some
with exams.
positions towards the end. Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
it was a good race. It wasn't the most entertaining, but in terms I think for you it was also nice to be back on the podium. Are you going to be here next week for Suzuka?
Nah, I think this is my last.
Oh well, if it is your
That's
last,
the thing.
thanks for racing this season. You've done what I think is it 2 victories, 4 podiums, something like that. I think. Well, it's something like that anyway. But anyway, Josh, anything from you? I know you're muted.
Sorry, magnificent race, Dylan. Really strong.
Thank you very much.
Going into the last two, which track are you stronger at, Suzuka or Jeddah?
Jeddah, but I'm not sure I'll be doing either of them.
Did you not
But
listen,
Oh
Josh?
no!
if it was to be any, it'd have to be Jeddah, since I've had some good races there, a good race there. So
Well, at least you can relax though. No, for
oh,
the
yeah,
last two
exactly.
rounds.
Yeah, good timing as well. Exam season, mock exam season started, so time
Oh,
to change my focus a little bit.
yeah, indeed. So it's a perfect time for it all to end. But anyway, if we don't see you again, great job this season, obviously for Ferrari, along
Thank you very
with
much.
I think we've had Istvan and Mirko, the only ones to drive as well for Ferrari, isn't this season? You've had quite the same lineup, haven't you, throughout the whole season?
Atomic also did Brazil,
Oh yes,
but
he
yeah,
did. Yeah.
I
So, yeah.
think we'll have a bit of more
hmm
rotation
Yep.
for the next few races.
Be nice to see Yona back in the car. I know he was on the roster earlier on.
Jonas back in the car. I didn't see that.
Well, I'm sure he was in the roster, wasn't he?
He was at some point, but he's been taken out.
Oh, was he at the roster?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
He's
No
been
more
swapped for
Yona.
a long game, mate.
Oh, that'd be a nice one towards
Ooh,
the end.
yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Anyway, Dylan, thanks for joining us, and we hope to. Well, we won't see you again here this season, but we'll see you somewhere in the future. So yeah, have a good one.
okay, thank you very much.
Bye.
Have a good evening.
And unfortunately, Josh, we don't have any interviewees. No Reese and no Ishmael.
shame.
So that will be it here for tonight. We'll move back to the camera screen in just a second once I get the Discord off, as that is not ideal to leak anything.
Yeah,
And
don't
we
do
can
that
see.
again.
Here we are. In a second. Boom. Right, there we are. So it was yes, it was a great race. It was a little bit dull. It was definitely wasn't my favourite, but I think either way it was great for the likes of Ishmael to take his first victory. It was great for Reese to take a podium for Vroom, and also did as well to be back on the podium. I think it's his 3rd or 4th this season. Yeah, going into Japan. You excited, Josh? Is that a track you like? Is it?
I love Japan.
Yeah, it's a good
Love
track,
it.
isn't it?
Japan is a great circuit. It is a lot of fun to drive. It's a lot of fun to commentate on. It's a lot of fun to get up for. I love the Japanese people. They're so passionate about Formula One. I love that Grand Prix, and I love getting a chance to commentate on esports as well because it is just so good. So yeah, very much looking forward to next week.
Same, and I hope everyone else is looking forward as well to Suzuka. I think it's definitely more of a qualifying focused track, so obviously I think qualifying will be very close around that circuit. And because also yet again see some more surprises like we did today. Obviously in qualifying with that rain probably into play, pretty much screwing over the TESs, also screwed over the likes of Max Grosspunch and also the 2 race clutches who dropped 18 Q2. But yeah, that's it for all of us tonight here at the E-Series Championship as well. Make sure to come back next week for round number 7. You'll be back here tomorrow for the F2 through to F5. And obviously on, I think it's Monday, we've got the consoles. I'll get mixed up because there's that many interesting things going on. So yeah, come back Monday for the consoles, Thursday here for the normal PC season. Obviously back here next Wednesday for the round 7, the penultimate round of the ECU Championship. See you again. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight, and we'll be back again next time. Good night.